Here at Living
Is that
Spaces,
me?
we offer you high.
What the buckets? I'm so sorry. I
Oh, that
think
was
that's me.
me.
Oh, that was you?
Three, two,
Jesus, I'm like,
one.
oh gosh.
Sorry, I didn't realize that was me. I thought you were playing something.
No. Okay, it wasn't me. So did anyone else hear that? What in the Bridgerton is going on? So it wasn't me. Hi guys.
Yeah,
Okay.
I hope that doesn't
I
get us
was okay.
demonetized.
You'll just have to mute that one section. Yeah, because I was gonna say my thing is automatically set where I don't have any computer sound going to Zoom or vMix. So like I have it set, so we're good. Hi guys. That was just a random ad. You didn't know that you were gonna get an ad at the beginning of the show, but hello, this was the ad to say subscribe to the show, subscribe to the Patreon, and if you haven't hit the thumbs up already, then you guys are late. And you should fix that. Like right now, I just went and hit thumbs up. So I think you can do it as well. You know what I mean? Uh, no, Majora, that's just rude. No, I'm kidding. I know you're being facetious, but that's okay. I didn't know this show was sponsored by music ads. Yeah, music ads, guys. That's the way to go. It'll just be the first 5 seconds that are going to be removed. Um, that's right, guys. It's always Jimmy's fault. So make sure you blame Jimmy. He's gonna catch flack every single time. That's just how that goes. We are here, and I'm just, doing the things and running it. But I'll want to remind everybody to if the mag is already here, then they should be calling. You can talk in the chat, but everyone's just going to roll you until you actually call the number on the screen. So you might as well do it now. And I know Trump is going to be speaking tonight, but just a friendly reminder as well. Apparently, Hegseth and Trump both now support gender affirming care. So you guys are going to have to reckon yourselves with that one. Testosterone for our military members, mandatory testing for testosterone. It's great, fantastic stuff. Guys, how do you figure that one out? Oh no, atheist Lux will be here. Of course, they're finishing their show on the line, so that's why I'm here. Um, Definitely did it, planned it this way to try and keep people from preferring Lux and Ari. Hey, yeah, we're good. Oh, dude, I get what you did there. We're good. I understand now. Yeah, Lux will be here shortly. It could be upwards to 15 minutes, so we'll find out what's happening. But yeah, if I'm here by myself, it might get a little bit. I actually would be pretty mad at Jimmy, and I would blame Jimmy if I ended up here by myself. Thursday's supposed to be for our transgender friends, so it's not supposed to be for me soloing here. While I am not gonna, argue against it, I'm good with it, but that's not what it's supposed to be. So I'm doing a lot of talking to myself. It's great. Good duo for sure. Oh, I love Lux. It's amazing. Yes, basically, Ab. So I actually, unfortunately, right, I listened to Hegseth's whole little spiel because now they're the new thing, and maybe it's been a thing for a while and I just haven't paid attention. But the new thing with this cabinet and these cabinet members is they like posting their little announcement videos about 2 minutes and 30 seconds long to X and going on with that, right? It's definitely very interesting how that works. So they just do whatever they want and they think it's cool. Okay, hopefully my video doesn't freeze, but I gotta hit my buttons over here. It always causes issues typically. Nope, not this time. Okay, I'm good with it. Yeah, it's awkward time with our I do pretty well on my own show. I guess it's just because it's not mine that I feel slightly awkward. So I just kind of roll with it to figure it out. But yeah, he said that it's for military readiness and to make them like, how did he phrase it? It was such odd phrasing. I'm awkward though, Majora. Like I will admit that I can be awkward. It's not can be. I am awkward. I'm good with it though. Let's see. But okay, I miss Caroline Levitt speaking today, and I wish I had. I do know there was a part where she was asked about is Donald Trump going to accept the results of November's elections, right? So like upcoming elections, and her response was just, "You should tune in and watch his speech tonight and see what he says." Like, we're just asking if he's going to finally, actually concede or admit loss in an election instead of just calling it fake every time. Because, duh, it's not fake, but he wants everyone to think it is for whatever reason. And they're always saying that. Aw, thanks. Thanks, Megan. I always like seeing you. Uh, that was a weird. Luthien came in. So many things are happening. Mostly just me flubbing. Flubbing's probably not the right word, but I'm doing it.
Floundering? I mean, I haven't been
Floundering.
here, so I'm not judging you, but
That's what it is. Floundering. That's definitely what it is. I like that. I like that.
we're here. Oh my
Yeah.
God, is calling it now has gone horizontal? What? That's crazy.
Horizontal and still vertical though.
Nice.
So
But for all those
guess it
people
just
who are
depends.
bitching all the time about how they don't like vertical, guess what? We've got you covered. We're doing both now. My shows are the
Yeah.
only shows that don't do both. Somebody needs to teach me so that Skep Talk can go vertical. That's so funny.
Oh, they just gotta,
I
I
got
assume
you.
they just, yeah.
Hmm.
See? Luthien's
Yeah.
got you.
Like Arden was already doing horizontal and verticals, and then I took over doing Takis for her for June, and I was like,
Hmm.
nobody told me how to do that, so we're just going horizontal. Like, guess what? I'm not trying to relearn something right now.
Oh, that makes sense. Are you, what was I gonna say? What was I gonna ask? Is Arden back? Oh God,
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah, she's back. She's been back for like about a week now. So it's been great to have her her voice of godness on Takis again. We're friends, so it's always good to chill for a little bit before the show starts. Let's see. We don't have any callers yet. OMG, you guys. The lines are open.
I
The
know.
the number's on the screen. It's 336-543-2101. It is an easy number to remember. And we are here to debate. That's our primary objective here is we want to have some conversations. I'm a transgender person. Ari's a woman, and we both have political takes. So guess what? We're here. We're queer. At least I am. And we're here to rock and roll. So yeah,
I'm
get your likes on the video too. That'll help us. What were you gonna
yeah, I
say?
told him that at the beginning to hit like. As like, if you guys haven't done that already, I don't know why you're late on doing that. So,
It's
but
quick,
no,
it's easy, it's free. It immediately helps the show, you know? Only good options when you hit the like button.
what I do know though is about since MAGA hasn't showed up yet, is that
Hmm.
you guys are not beating the claims that you're scared of everything.
That's true. Yeah, I have found that there's been a lot of keyboard warriors recently, especially since we
So
just had
many.
Takis and we had the vertical chat. There's so many people who have very strong opinions, but seemingly don't have the ability to back it up, or like maybe you have the ability and you're just not willing to back it up, which is crazy because those of you who are Christian, you are called to back up your shit. Like that's the whole you're charged with telling people about your religion so that people don't go to hell. And you're
Yep.
charged with loving your neighbor. I would love it. Are you MAGA out there and you identify as Christian? Because how is that in line with Jesus teaching to love your neighbor? How is it in keeping with the religious teachings of Christianity for you to say you think that it's good that these illegal immigrants are getting killed and rounded up? Because God commands you to love and accept the stranger. And you are being an asshole to the stranger, and you are wishing harm upon the stranger. So please square that for me because I have yet to have an adequate answer to that question.
Well, you're asking them to square their own circle, and it
Hmm.
doesn't work ever.
Yeah, yeah.
That's that's partially why.
Have you heard people suggest that cognitive dissonance, as opposed to being holding two juxtaposing positions at the same time, that rather it's more like oscillating rapidly between two opposite positions? Because you cannot hold them both at the
Hmm.
same time, it feels like. Like you cannot hold that Jesus commands you to love and love your neighbor and embrace the stranger, and also, like in an honest way, also believe that like illegal immigration is bad. I don't know.
I actually can see it that way because they'll be like, yeah, we gotta love everybody, like because it's the same thing that they do with, let's say, abortion, right?
Mhm.
You have to care for the life of the child in the womb, but not when it's born.
Yeah,
We don't
for
care
sure.
if you eat. I literally heard somebody on TikTok the other day saying that if you can't feed them, don't breed them. And I'm like, that is a disgusting way to phrase that. Also, it was a
Yikes.
woman, and I wanted
Ew.
to like that. That of course made it worse.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's terrible. I hate to hear
yeah,
that. It's especially bad when like yeah, it's a person who is a member of the oppressed class who is
yep,
perpetuating the rhetoric. Weirdly enough, do you have this also? You do TikTok, right? Usually you do
yeah.
TikTok call-in show
Mhm.
lives. Have you found that it's overwhelmingly men who call?
Oh, 100%. That's why when
Overwhelmingly.
people say, okay, so like a lot of TikTokers have trouble getting callers even from YouTube, and I have like zero problem getting people from YouTube most of the time.
Mhm.
And they'll be like, but Ari has no problems. I'm like, yes, because men on the internet just want to yell at me. Like
Yeah,
like it's not for them to have a conversation. They just want to scream at me and prove themselves right.
yeah,
So it's like it's great. I get callers, I get clips, I get conversations. I fucking rickroll some of them depending on how I feel. And but it's like I rarely get women, and the women that I do get conversations for, they're always the clips that go off the most because they're
yeah.
so rare to get a woman that supports Trump.
Hmm. Yeah, I find that like the women who call in are usually deconstructing. Like just my experience producing all the shows. Like the women who call in are like, I'm trying to figure something out. We did recently have on Chewed Gum, we were talking to this guy Jeremiah,
Uh-huh.
and he got his wife to like join in on speakerphone, and she seemed like articulate in a way that he wasn't. And it's like clear that they shared some of the same opinions. But it was just really interesting. So I definitely recommend you check out, people in the chat, check out some recent episodes of Chewed Gum. Look for Jeremiah because yeah, that was surreal. Like talking to one of these men's wives directly.
That would be I I love it. So I think my favorite one is I've had a few times where like they called in with their wife nearby
Hmm.
or their girlfriend or whatever they are to them, and one specifically where the guy started off with saying they took our jobs. So I was like, I am not taking you seriously already.
Hmm.
And I just went straight to playing South Park, and
Yeah.
she got so offended that I was playing South Park that she spoke up, and she's like, she's just playing South Park. I'm like, oh, you know. And then like he started yelling at me. I'm like, I preferred it when she was screaming at me. Can you put her back on the phone? Actually, I don't care. Like, to rather be screamed at by a woman, I don't know.
I know. Women can do terrible things to me, and I'm gonna be way more okay with it for sure. So
Right.
I can relate to that.
It's like, sorry, man, you guys do weird stuff. But if you're MAGA, call the number on the screen. You guys have no solutions for anything. You hate women, you hate children, you're scared of everything. When you don't call into the show, you're just kind of proving it. And by the way, Donald Trump now supports gender affirming care, so prove me wrong.
Wait. What is this most recent thing that we're talking about, or is this something dug up from previous?
Oh no, this is very recent. This just happened
Okay.
yesterday.
Oh, I'm out of
Um,
the loop. I had a midterm yesterday.
oh yeah, yesterday was wait, was yes what? A midterm yesterday.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
you're
in
talking
I'm
about
in
school.
college.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of the midterms for election season, so I'm like, wait, yesterday
Oh,
was
oh, I
Wednesday,
see.
not Tuesday. There's
Hmm.
no elections on there. Um, it is, yeah, you're right, Lauren. My YouTube chat is genuinely heinous.
Hmm.
Um, So bad. No, so Hegseth just made a mandatory testing for testosterone levels in the military.
Oh, I see. Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, we were talking about that on the previous show. It's just
Yep.
the gender affirming care connection didn't didn't link
Didn't
in.
immediately connect.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That is so funny though. Like we talked about that on the previous show. I would love for some MAGA to explain how our military is battle ready when if like half of them have to inject testosterone. How are we going to deploy these servicemen who have to inject testosterone into their muscle once a week? Um,
Yep.
that seems crazy to me.
That so and then like because it's like that defeats your entire argument against removing specifically trans men out of the military at the minimum.
Yeah.
Like you've
And you're
defeated
willing to
your own
pay for
argument.
it. You're willing to pay
Yep.
for it for these cis service members who are
Yep.
asymptomatic. They're not showing symptoms of an
Nothing's
illness or
happening.
anything. Yeah, it's not medically necessary care the way that gender affirming care for trans people is medically necessary care. God,
Yep.
such bullshit. So stupid.
They just don't get it. It's great. I love it.
It's also basically making it official policy to put a certain percentage of our service members on steroids. So we're just going to have a roided out, which somebody called at the show that I was just on, and they said, like, as a person who was in the military, yes, people are roided out. And I'm like, yeah, but it wasn't official policy. And he's like, yes, it certainly was not official policy at the time. But like, yeah, for it just be like, yeah, that's America's military, openly roided out soldiers.
Yep. Because they will never care. And it does make me laugh how they do that.
Hmm.
Um, and yes, Bishop, that is one of my Twitch chatters is giving me a one of the scripture that they try to use for justifying their hate of illegal immigration, which
Hmm.
is let no man break the laws of the land. For I hate reading biblical verses the way that they're written. For
Yeah.
he that keepeth the laws, God hath no need to break the laws of the land. But at the same time, as he adds the caveat, you're supposed to be encouraged to peacefully and civilly change unjust laws, which is what we ask for. I just want legislation to
I
change.
mean, but like, TBH, how has that worked out for the last
It
50
doesn't.
years? It turns
They do
out,
so great.
yeah. So it's not a very effective means, but that's why they
No.
want us to do it because it's ineffective. Like that's why the powers that be are like, yeah, you should get out there and vote. Is like, yeah, because they know it's not going to meaningfully change much. On the broader scale, I do think it's really important to vote local because I was able
Yep.
to vote to expand library hours by implementing a new tax. And that's fucking really important because
That's pretty
libraries are
cool.
places where people can go when it's 90 degrees and cool down, or where children can hang out when their parents are still at work after school. Libraries are important.
I will say though, just a weird tidbit fact that I learned this week that's still like bothering me in a way, in
Mhm.
not a bad way. Uh 20% only 20% of all buildings in France have air conditioning.
Yeah, which is crazy because it's like 114 Fahrenheit in France sometimes
Yeah.
right now. I know somebody who just moved there. Um, yeah, I was like, how do
It's
you keep your house cool? That's wild.
you you don't technically because there's only so much um freaking what you call it fans will do. There's only so much that'll do.
Yeah, you're just pushing around the same hot, humid air. There's only so much you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me how global warming isn't happening, MAGA. That's an issue that is like, it's the most important issue for everybody. And it's the thing that we talk about the least, it seems, of all the different issues that come up politically. But yeah, explain to me how, humans have had no impact on the climate. And you have to have some kind of amnesia. If you're my age or older, you have to be deliberately engaging in some kind of bullshit to be like, yeah, this is fine. Because
Something.
in my lifetime, like summers are hotter than they have ever been, and like hotter than they have ever been on record, including like to the extent that we're able to tell from historical or like geological documentation. Um, cherry blossom season is sooner and sooner every
Oh,
year. We've been studying that for hundreds of years. Um,
my favorite
yeah,
season.
I
That's
know.
the biggest time when I want to go to Japan. So,
Yeah. Weirdly, there is a huge amount of cherry blossom trees throughout the Willamette Valley. I think it's like cherries grow here really, really easily. So, like the
ooh,
the capital of Oregon is Salem, and it's called Cherry City. And there's like a shit ton of cherry blossom trees like in the entire area, which is really cool. So it's kind of like Japan in that way.
for the cherry blossom trees. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
they're
get
just
that.
all over the place. Yeah, and they're in like Portland, there's a whole giant park like along the waterfront that has a bunch of cherry blossom trees, and they put like the little paper lanterns up for the celebration. So yeah, it's a fun time. We do have somebody on the line that we
I
could
see
take.
that. Yeah.
So I guess we
In
should do that.
invisible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to do it?
Sure, I've never hit it from here, so we'll just. All right. Invisible, you're on the line with Lux and Ari. How are you?
Good. What's up?
Living the dream, my dude. Your topic is about immigration. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, I could talk about that, but I heard you guys talk about global warming and wanted people to talk about that. So whichever one you want me to talk
Oh,
about
that
is
was just a
fine.
side conversation, but
I mean, it is definitely like I'm interested in if people are disagreeing that global warming is real, or that it's something that we should be dealing with, or like it's a problem we should be trying to solve. I don't know. What's your opinion about global warming?
Sure. So let's just say that humans are causing the Earth to heat up. Why
Okay.
should the United States put all this time, effort, and money in trying to solve it just in America when other countries like China, India, and the continent of Africa completely disregarding um, the safety and whatever of the environment? Like, for
Well,
example, India's
China
trash
China
and
is actually
pollution. And
way better than we are. China is actually way better than we are at terms of like they're developing new technologies for renewables and batteries and solar power. So yeah, it's actually like it's more like China is leading the world on this and putting a bunch of money into improving the systems. And then we actually have the ability to buy their technology, but we're saying, fuck you, we want to keep polluting the world. Like, we've just decided to not address the problem, even though many other countries are taking it seriously. So it's kind of the opposite of your assumption that you made there.
yeah, but then I read like a few years ago that China was opening up like a new coal plant, like one every week or one every other week. So, and plus, solar panels, electric cars, whatever, anything to do with batteries, mining all those materials are so, um, they're pretty bad for the environment. One, mining them. Two, like disposing of them. So
They're
I
they're
don't know what
super
you're going to do in
recyclable
the
though.
future when all
The
these
batteries the batteries are super recyclable actually. So we can pretty much just recycle them forever. And it's, yes, there's an initial
oh,
extraction process, but we are also constantly extracting from the earth by like fracking, for example, and that's like super harmful. So I'm not ever going to argue that like one thing is perfect over another, but I will argue that one thing is an obvious better return on investment. So yeah, so actually the batteries are totally recyclable. And I don't really understand the argument that like America should continue polluting the world just because other countries are still polluting. Can you actually
well,
circle back to that and explain that to me?
yeah, I don't think the United States has to suffer
How
financially
is it
and
how is it
alter our
suffering though?
power grid. Well,
I mean,
because
this is
all
a
this
weird invisible.
investment.
Maybe we should skip this because it's a really hard conversation. You are talking to someone who has installed solar panels and is in school to become an engineer for renewable energy. So maybe this is just
Oh, then
like
we can talk about immigration if you want.
yeah, like I don't know, like you are so off base on all of the facts on the climate change issue that like I'm like I don't even know how to bridge that conversation because you like have this opinion that like it's going to damage the United States economy. How is it going to damage the economy for us to just implement more solar? Like we have a bunch of empty land. I don't know when's the last time you went on a road trip across this country, but there is a huge amount of empty land. And even if we didn't have empty land, 40% of the corn that we grow goes toward ethanol for our cars. And we could just fill that land with a renewable energy source instead of a non-renewable energy source. Sorry, Ari, please get in on this.
Oh no, I'm agreeing with you. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of empty land right now. I mean, we're not going to be able to plant anything right now until we get the strait reopened. So there's that too.
Yeah, for sure.
There's just so much wrong with what's going on, but yeah.
Then I guess we'll just talk about immigration.
Yeah.
As a Republican, I don't see a problem with deporting people who don't have legal status in this country.
Do you see a problem with deporting people who... Hold on real quick. I want to ask you a clarifying question. Do you see a problem with deporting people who have just arrived at their naturalization ceremony?
And they're about to be naturalized to become a U.S. citizen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or filing
do
paperwork
they have
to
legal
denaturalize
status?
them.
Do they?
So that's the thing. Yes, if you are coming to the courthouse for your naturalization ceremony, that means you have done all of the paperwork and you are about to be naturalized. Do you think it's okay to deport that person?
And you have legal status?
Yes, that's the whole. That's literally, you have to have legal status to be about to be. Yeah, no shit. That's what. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Why is that difficult?
I don't see a problem with it.
So I'm asking, do you see a problem with deporting someone who is at the courthouse to be naturalized right now?
I don't think we should deport people who are about to be
because
naturalized.
that's what's happening though. That's what's occurring though.
Yeah.
Oh, how many times has that happened?
Does it matter?
At least 3 times that we know of.
Well,
yeah. At least 3 times that I know of. Yeah.
And that's just the naturalization ceremony.
Oh, okay.
Just to be clear. Hold on, real quick, Invisible. That's just the naturalization ceremony. People have been picked up when they are arriving at the courthouse to do other intermediary steps. So like somebody is trying to show up to meet with their lawyer and they get grabbed by ICE. So they are trying to do everything they're supposed to do, and they're still getting grabbed and put in a camp and deported to a country that they've never been to before. So yeah, if you want to cling to that number 3, that's only the people at the naturalization ceremonies. That doesn't count everybody else.
Let's just say it's 300 or 3,000. How many people have been rightfully deported over the past 2 years? Donald Trump, or a year and a half, Donald Trump has been president.
I'm not really comfortable with the dodge that you're trying to do here, because I think we should be able to first all agree. I think we should be able to first all agree that the number of people who should be deported while they are in the process of becoming a citizen or of getting their paperwork together should be 0, correct?
Well, yeah, but no government system's perfect. So like if it's a 99% success rate on deportation, then I'd say that's pretty successful.
There is absolutely no reason to waste taxpayer money deporting somebody who is in the middle of filling out their paperwork. The number should be 0. There is no excuse for it to be more than 0 people who are in the process of filling out their paperwork, showing up to court as expected.
Well, then you'll never be happy with any government program, because no government program's perfect.
Yeah, but
surely no government agency is perfect. They all make mistakes. So if you're
So if we're not
sitting on the Trump administration for making some mistakes,
invisible.
The government doesn't get to make mistakes like that, by the way. It's a government. Yeah. You don't get to make mistakes that result in people being deported to a country they've never been to. You don't get to just say it. That it's like, oh, that makes it okay, though.
Well, who says we have to deport them?
It doesn't make it okay.
Invisible.
If they don't belong here, we can deport them wherever we want.
Invisible. No. I don't really like to mute people, but I'm going to start muting you because I really would like to get my statements out there. People in the government are held to a higher standard. It's not acceptable to just say, well, sometimes mistakes happen. Okay, if mistakes happen, then somebody needs to experience consequences. Somebody needs to be arraigned. Somebody needs to be charged. Somebody needs to be fined. Somebody needs to be fired. We don't just get to say, well, mistakes happen sometimes when we're governing a whole country of people.
And mistakes that end up with somebody dying is not an acceptable mistake.
At all.
Wait, what did you just say? When people die?
Yes. Or put in prison where they've already served their sentence out here. Like, That actually happened. I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he was a immigrant from Jamaica, and he did serve time in the United States of America, served his full sentence, got a degree, was released, and he was not deported. So I don't disagree inherently with his actual deportation, right? Because I think it was, he served time for second degree murder or third degree murder. Um, and he served his sentence, full sentence, and then the Trump administration picked him up and they sent him to South Sudan, in the middle of the war zone, and he was imprisoned while there. But he'd served his entirely full sentence out in the United States and had been released for 2 years. And Jamaica reached out and said, we wanted him back. We would have taken our own citizen back. That's not okay. He served his sentence here.
And he was undocumented?
Yeah, I already acknowledged that. I said I don't disagree with his deportation.
Okay. Well,
I disagree with his deportation going to a war-torn country when his own home country said, we'll take him back. And they ignored it.
well.
Yeah,
But I'm
you
pretty sure
said,
the
oh,
United
well?
States-
Yeah, that's the problem.
Like, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to say about that?
That
Like,
someone should
you
be
come
held
over here-
responsible. That we should be responsible. If we are going to deport people and send them across the world, we need to hold that as a sacred duty
Yep.
to get it right.
What do you mean? Like, he got deported? What's the problem?
To a country-
you
not
agree
to
with
his
the
home
deportation?
To a country he's never been to in the middle of a war zone. That is not responsible stewardship.
Oh, he was deported to
Well,
Eswatini. And that's where he was.
But
and
it
he
will
was in
tell
prison
people
there.
who want to come over here. It will tell people who want to come over here illegally that if you get caught, you may get sent to a country you've never been to, and I bet they won't do it. So
That's
That's
maybe it's more of a
fucked up.
statement.
You're a bad person if that's the life that you want to live, if that's the world that you want to, if that's the planet that you want to live on. You're just a bad dude.
Okay.
Do you
Sorry
just
you
not
think that way.
Do you just think you just want to live in a world where like we disproportionately harm people for the crime of trying to make a better life for themselves?
I don't have a personal connection with every single human being on this earth, so it's hard for me to feel bad for 8 billion people on this planet. Like,
So
I don't have time throughout
you are
my
not
day.
capable of imagining that you know somebody who is being harmed. Like you can't imagine like, what if I met that person on the bus and talked to them? Like you should be able to employ some level of like, I can imagine that might happen to somebody, you know, like this is why when we're writing policy, invisible, when we're writing policy, we do actually need to be able to humanize people who are going through hardship. Have you ever worked at a company where like the CEO comes in or not the CEO, maybe like a regional manager comes in and changes a bunch of shit and you're like, this fucking idiot doesn't work here and he is changing a bunch of stuff and we're going to have to change it back in 3 months because he doesn't know what the fuck is going on. What we have right now is a country and to some extent a world that is being run by people who have never had a struggle. And they basically don't live here. Like they basically don't really live in America, the same America that we all live in, where we have to go buy our own groceries. And these people are like changing shit and telling us what to do. And it's like that's exactly the thing that you're doing here is like you cannot imagine the situation where somebody might come to America out of desperation, who might miss their court date because they couldn't find childcare for their kid. Like you cannot imagine a situation in which it would be like really fucked up to just like send someone halfway across the world to a country that they don't have citizenship in, by the way. Like, I don't know. I don't really know what to do with you right now.
But if I were to put myself in their shoes, I would know, like, I was not invited to this country. I'm not here legally. Anything can happen. Like, what do people think is going to happen when they come here? They get caught? Like, nothing? Like, I don't understand. Do you think this should be consequence-free from getting caught?
Yeah, due process would be good. Yeah.
They got a
also,
process.
we could.
And due process is pretty
didn't.
vague.
No, it's not. It means
Yeah,
like
they
you
get
get
a-
your day in court. Sorry, go ahead,
Yeah, they get
Ari.
to file a writ of habeas corpus where they are contesting their removal, and they're being denied that. So there was a sh- an emergency petition last year to SCOTUS, right? Because they put a stay on all of the expedited removals that Trump and his administration were doing with DHS. And it was Trump v. AARP, where they stated in there, SCOTUS, when they basically ruled against Trump in the emergency petition, they said that the administration is not giving immigrants enough time to file writ of habeas corpus, and that was actively against the Fifth and 14th Amendments, and they've got to at least, so they kept the stay in place that was already issued by a lower court judge, right? And then you have Christie Nome v. Kilmer-Abrego Garcia, where the Supreme Court in a 9-2-0 ruling said that, yeah, the administration tried to argue to us in our courtroom that if they deport them fast enough, they don't have to give somebody due process. And that's a direct violation of someone's right to due process.
So the guy who got sent to Sudan, did he have a removal order?
No, the Kilmer-Abrego Garcia is not the one who got sent to Sudan. And by the way, I corrected myself. He was sent to Eswatini.
I was talking about the guy.
In my story, yeah, the Jamaican man, he was sent to, and I corrected myself, he was sent to Eswatini. No, his name is Orville Etoria.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sometimes, life's unfair and shit, but if you're not supposed to be here,
with the
you're
government,
not supposed to be here.
Cool. So you're just okay with the government treating our Constitution like it's toilet paper. That's cool. So you don't care about law and order because you're okay with violating our United States Constitution, which is the base, the bare bones of our laws.
So let me ask you a question. Before women had the right to vote, if there was a president that didn't change the Constitution but wanted women the right to vote and gave them permission to, without amending the Constitution, would you support that?
Oh, yes, because I don't know if you realize this. See that? I know you think this is a good gotcha question, Invisible. Oh, no, I'm going to you're not going to interrupt me on this one, so you're going to get a mute for that one. Because I know you think this is a gotcha question, but it's not. The Constitution, when it was originally written, was gender neutral and colorblind. It was individuals in power that decided to make it racist and sexist. So yes, if a president said, yeah, women have the right to vote, he wouldn't be violating any laws because the Constitution originally gives women the right to vote because it's gender neutral. So yeah, please continue.
So you would be against the Constitution in that situation then, right?
Nope, the Constitution was gender neutral. It gave all people the right to vote. Again, Invisible, this is not the gotcha you think it is. The Constitution was gender neutral, meaning that all people had the right to vote.
Women didn't have the right to vote.
Yes, they did. They had the right to vote all along. It was individuals throughout the country that tried to keep them from being able to vote. I already explained this. I'm glad you didn't listen.
If women could vote,
so the problem is right now.
If women could vote the whole time, then why did they throw in the 19th Amendment?
The problem is right now, Invisible. The problem is right now, Invisible, is that you are listening only to respond. You are not listening to comprehend. Restate any part of my argument.
You told me the Constitution.
My argument. Steelman my argument.
Yeah, you said the Constitution. Yeah, can I respond? You said the Constitution was written gender neutral and color free. But it was white men who wanted to control people and all this and that.
Oh, I didn't say any of that.
And you said all along women had the right to vote, but it wasn't until the 19th Amendment until they were allowed to vote. So I'm confused.
Nope, didn't say any of that at all. You only got one part right of what I said.
Oh, dang.
Is this a
But
not
you're telling
understanding the
me,
difference between federal law and state law situation? Because
Yeah.
if what you're saying is accurate, my understanding is that it would have been federally like women had the right to vote, but then
Yep.
the states and also the power of social influence were preventing women from voting. And so then
Yep.
an amendment was made to say, hey, fuck asses, we meant
You're
for women to be
dumbasses.
able to vote. So stop trying to restrict their ability to vote, please, now. Now
Yes.
it's officially, you cannot misinterpret what we've said. That's like my understanding of what you're saying.
Yep. Because he didn't, and he
oh,
couldn't
so the
even restate it. He
Constitution's up
even
for
brought in white
interpretation?
men. I didn't even say that. No, the
Constitution's up for
Constitution was
interpretation?
written.
It literally is. That's what the Supreme Court's job is, you dumb fuck. Oh my God. This is such a
Yeah.
frustrating conversation. Do you know anything about your country? I'm sorry that the state of public education in Florida is so shit for you right now.
It's insane.
I
Oh,
just have
didn't
to
even get my
assume that it's
education
not
down
your
here.
fault. Like, I have to assume that it's not your fault that you're this dumb.
Yeah, I just don't see the problem with deporting people who don't belong here. Like, I don't know why it's so complicated.
What do you mean they don't belong here? Did you not grow up? And maybe this is an age gap difference. Like young people didn't grow up with this idea that America is a great melting pot that is built by immigrants. That this country's strength is in its diversity. Like it's actually like a weird new thing to be so anti-immigration
Yeah,
and also
strength and
invisible.
diversity, and
I'm
yet there's so
literally
much
still
racial
in
and
the middle
ethnic
of
tension.
talking. You asshole! Shut up! I'm not done talking. Holy fucking shit! Diversity has always been the strength of America, and like I can demonstrate to you that it's better for the economy when we have immigration, and
I don't
we
care if
spend.
it's better for
oh
the
my
economy.
fucking God! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! It's better for the economy. And we spend a shit ton of taxpayer dollars deporting people when we could spend a fraction of that cost just making it easier for them to get the documentation. We just need more staff to handle all of the applications, and we need more staff at the courthouses to make it possible for people to show up to court more easily. If we had more robust childcare, then people wouldn't be like, I can't go to my court hearing because I can't find anybody to take care of my child for however many hours I'm going to be there. We could just make it easier for people, and instead we waste a shit ton of taxpayer dollars and we hurt people and we separate families. We don't have to live this way.
What do you... Families, U.S. citizens get separated from their families all the time.
Through legal means, typically through CPS, Child Protective Services.
No, if I'm
Where there's due process.
if I'm driving,
Yep.
if I'm driving and I get a DUI, I'm getting separated from my child. What are you talking about? It happens
Because
to
it's
United
not
States citizens every day.
Because, like, wait.
Okay,
hold
so
on.
you're about to
Yeah,
say
'cause
you're
he
about to
broke
say
the
Ari,
law.
you're about to say because you broke the law, and he's going to say, well, you broke the law when you da 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 da.
Oh.
But what I've already told you,
You get due
Invisible, is that
process.
people are being deported when they are in the middle of the legal process to become permanent citizens. So your
And the
argument,
United States can revoke visas whenever they want.
but like, why would you say you're okay with legal immigration and then also, I mean, maybe you aren't. Are you not okay with legal immigration?
well,
Because I know plenty of people who are
I
like,
think
I did it the right way, or my granddad did it the right way, and I don't like these illegal immigrants doing it the wrong way. Do you think that legal immigration is good?
Well, if the United States needs those people, then yes.
And I just told you that it benefits our economy. And you said you don't care. So which is it? Do you care about it benefiting the country or not?
I'm not talking about importing low-skilled laborers to fill jobs in the United States that American people can do. I'm for immigration for like higher education people, like attorneys, accountants, nurses, doctors, scientists, astrophysicists.
So
But, like,
I don't
just
really
why
understand
are we
what you think the economy is or how it's supported. Like, we do actually need workers at all levels of skill, as you put it. So do you, okay, so what you want,
Yeah, but
let me
there's a
just be
bunch-
clear. Hold on, Invisible. I want to explore the implications of what you just said. What you want is for all of the incredibly skilled doctors and lawyers who grew up here and went to school in this country. You would like for them to have more competition for good jobs, but you want low-skilled workers to have more opportunities for jobs? Like,
No.
what are you saying here?
No, what I'm saying is I think the United States should allow immigration when we need it. And I think there's
It's
plenty of
always a
Americans in
benefit,
this
though.
country.
It's always a benefit, which means we could always use it. Like, we always need it. It always benefits the economy, which means it's always useful to have immigration. It's good for our birth rates. It's good for our economy. It's good for our workforce.
Well,
Like,
hold up. No, the birth rate thing, importing immigrants to help our birth rate is stupid. When us Americans,
why? They
current
marry
US citizens,
Americans.
should be
They
able
marry
to
they marry Americans and have American citizen children. What are you talking about?
No, I'm talking about where you just let over 10 million people like Biden to come in and just have a bunch of babies and work low-skilled jobs. Like, that to me, it
And
doesn't
those are
work.
American citizens who contribute to our GDP. Isn't that crazy? And they pay taxes.
Crazy.
Yeah,
What
but if they're
are you talking about
illegal, they're
encounters? Are you talking about the encounters?
I'm talking about the millions of people that came across under Joe Biden's administration. You know, him and
Where'd you get the
Mayorkas,
number?
not really doing shit.
Where'd you get the
They're
number from?
estimates.
From where?
I have no idea. I don't remember.
Why not? How come?
Because there's so many articles saying the same thing.
Go Google it.
I'm not next to a computer.
You have
you have one in your hand. But
Jinx.
Yeah, I think the United States should
okay. So you
have a cultural shift for us.
You concede you don't know what you're talking about?
To reproduce. Conceding what?
We're doing great replacement. He just tried to pivot to great replacement theory. You
did.
concede that you were wrong, though, or that you don't have any data to support your position.
Oh, that immigrants benefit our economy?
Then you said that
No.
Biden imported like millions of them, and like she was asking you where you got that number. Because what I understand is that Biden deported more people in his term than Trump did in his first term.
Yep.
Yeah. So Biden deported more people. He was better on the immigration topic as far as your perspective goes.
Yeah, if Joe Biden deported more people than Trump, but let in 10, 20x more than what Donald
But
Trump
where are
is
you
doing
getting
now,
that number from?
then,
That's what we're asking. Because we can substantiate the numbers that Trump deported fewer people in his first term than Biden did in his term, but you don't have any substantiated proof to this. Oh my God, 10 million immigrants got imported in, and they were all low skill, and none of them had a college degree. Like,
yeah, I would have to look it up again.
yeah. So do you think that maybe that could be a problem with your brain and how it works? That you're like, I'm just going to repeat things as though they're true, even though I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Maybe in that instance, sure. But
yeah,
like what
do you
I
think
said,
that it's okay for you to vote based on that ignorance? Is that the country you want to live in? You want to influence public policy based on your ignorance of the topic and your hatred of brown people, frankly?
I don't hate brown people. What are you talking about?
You very clearly do.
I don't like any illegal immigrants, no matter what they look like.
There's an undertone to this conversation that maybe you're not aware of the broader context, but when you say, yeah, I want skilled workers, you're thinking of like Asian doctors and Indian like tech giants. And when you think of low skilled workers, you're thinking of Mexicans. Like, let's be real. That's underlying this whole conversation, whether you mean for it to be or not.
Well, I'm sorry you took it that way. But I don't think everybody should have the right to vote.
Who are you thinking of when you think I want immigrants to come to this country who are doctors and lawyers? Who are you thinking of?
You just try to pivot to
anybody who is. Well, no, because the person asked me, "Do you think that I should be voting this way or for these reasons?"
His name is Lux.
Blah blah blah. That's why I brought that up.
I don't care.
Oh, okay.
I don't care.
But what was your question again?
I mean, I've asked you a few questions at this point in the conversation. I mean, like the question that I want an answer to.
Who do I think of when I think of doctors?
Yeah. When you're, and I want you to take it in context of this whole dichotomy. You said, I don't want low skilled workers, but I do want doctors and lawyers.
Yeah.
Who are you thinking of when you think of those two groups of people?
Anybody who's qualified for those positions.
I think that's dishonest. I don't think that's very
dishonest.
What are you talking about?
We all know what you mean. We all know the implications of what you're saying. especially when we know that
Oh,
Mexican Americans
are you telling me that
especially when we know that Mexican Americans are the ones being primarily targeted by this deportation. I live in a place where there
it would make
are a
sense
bunch
that
invisible. I want to give you
most
some
of the
context.
people getting
I want to give
deported
you
are
some
Mexicans
context for this
since they're right
problem. I want
below
to
the
give you,
border.
hey, I would like to give you some context for this problem. I live in Oregon in a place where there are a lot of immigrants. Two groups primarily. Number one is Hispanic people, and number two is Russians, weirdly enough. Like, for some reason, we got a shit ton of Russian immigrants here.
Russians, okay.
Guess who's getting pulled over? Guess who's getting curb stomped? Guess who's getting ripped out of their cars? It's not the Ukrainians, it's not the Russians, who are, by the way, low-skilled workers. Like, they're just like flooring installers and fucking trash men. Like, we're talking about people at the same level of socioeconomic status. What's the difference between those two groups of people?
One group is white, the other group is brown.
Exactly. Nobody seems to have a problem with the Russian immigrants. Nobody means
I
Russian
do.
immigrants when they're talking about all these low-skill immigrants coming in. Nobody's
There's a
deporting
lot of
Russian
Eastern
immigrants.
European people who are low skilled.
Yeah, but that's not who is being deported right now. And it's not who you mean when you're
Well,
talking about low-skilled workers.
No, I think low skilled people can be from all over the world, from any place, any color.
So
And I think
progressive of
lawyers,
you.
doctors, nurses.
So you're just xenophobic. Got it.
Hey, I'm not scared of immigrants. No, they don't scare me. But I think
That's not what it means, you dumb fucking person. It's so dishonest. It's so dishonest. You're not dumb. You're just bad faith and dishonest. You know that xenophobia doesn't mean a fear. It means an aversion or a disgust. And you know that.
immigrants don't disgust me.
You're such a loser. You're such a
Like,
fucking loser.
What
Goodbye.
I look at, no,
What a loser. I'm done. Sorry.
No, I'm good.
I'm sorry
No,
if
I'm
I
good with
steamroll you a
that.
little bit, Ari.
Oh no, no,
Sorry.
you're good. I'm used to it from Jimmy, so it's cool.
I know. It's like I'm not streaming with Jimmy, so now I shall take the high road. Yeah.
Tell me. No, it's like I also would point out, like, obviously he's sexist. There was no reason to ask about the 19th Amendment in that any part in that conversation, yet he wanted to try.
Yeah, I don't know. That was really
Gosh.
funny.
So horrible. And unfortunately somebody left because he was so horrible. Like, God Center was like, just going to drop a $10 apology because I need to tap out for this convo.
Listen,
Holy crap, good luck.
I'm okay with it. Your $10 apology is accepted.
Yeah, that was a lot for us. Can we I don't know, back out a little bit from that one? Also, my chat on TikTok was asking if you have a TikTok.
I don't.
That's fine.
I'm so sorry.
No, I wouldn't
Yeah.
advise it.
No, yeah, yeah. For both reasons. As a creator, it's annoying as a platform, and as a person with ADHD, it's bad enough with Facebook and Reels and stuff. Yeah, so I am not a TikTok person. If y'all want to follow me, I'm at Luxander Moss on YouTube, and that's the only platform that I upload to.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. That's where it is. Okay, let me just take a gander. We do have an ANCAP, interestingly, who is from your Discord apparently. So actually, do we want to take that one and give you some opportunity to get in here?
No. I'm not.
I'm not excited to talk to an ANCAP either. Trust me. I'm an anarcho-communist to be clear.
Oh yeah, sorry. That took me a moment. I'm used to ANCAP, not ANCOM, I guess that would be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I was like, yeah. Oh, okay. No, actually, I'm interested. Yeah, we can talk to Joey. It's cool.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me, but I will not be the one taking the lead. I feel like it'll be a decent mix.
All right,
So,
good.
You want
Fun. Let's talk to Joe, he, him pronouns from New Jersey. New Jersey, man, they don't send their best, but we're going to give you a good faith assumption here, Joe, that you're going to have a good argument. Joe, you are live with Ari, Mermaid, and Luxander. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing all right so far.
Can you hear me?
Ready
Okay.
for you to lay out your argument.
Yep.
Well, I didn't have an argument to say. I just, I saw the tag, call in, talk about, you had some things listed, capitalism, Trump supporters, this, that. So I figured, give it a shot, call in. So
yeah.
you say you're an ANCOM. You said you're an ANCOM, Lux. Is that correct?
I mean, as much as I adhere to any political labels, I think that's probably accurate enough.
So I interact, I guess, on social media with a lot of ANCOMs and like little debate groups or whatever. So I'm familiar with all the very common disagreements between the two. Because it always turns into some kind of mudslinging. You know what I mean? Because in my opinion, anyway, ultimately what it comes down to is we both sides kind of misunderstand and misrepresent what the others are really talking about. And I think that's where a lot of the actual friction comes from, and that's why there's not a lot of good faith arguments. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. And to be clear, I don't engage in conversations with other people who are ANCOMs, so I have no frame of reference for what these people say. So you feel we're starting out completely fresh, you know?
Jovan said he's leaning that way more lately. So
Yeah, no, yeah, he's like he's at least a communist. I don't like, and I think we all lean on that like anarcho-com, at least between him and me and Jimmy. But like
to a degree, yeah.
yeah. But I'm not like out there on the internet on Reddit, like like seeing what the conversation is between ANCOMs and ANCAPs. So yeah, don't I'm completely untainted in this way.
Okay.
So I guess I could just take a stab and see where it chops up to. Basically, a lot of the argument stems from the whole labor theory of value argument, where capitalists are basically exploiting the workers and taking the surplus value that they created with their work in say a factory or whatever, and basically it's getting stolen from them, and that's why the capitalists get super rich and the rest of us are kept super poor. I'm pretty sure I'm not misrepresenting the argument there.
I mean,
that sound
if
about right?
If we're getting to a level of jargon that maybe I don't know what all the individual terms mean, but and like for the audience too, because there was been a little bit of confusion, and I just want to clarify the terms. ANCAP means like anarcho-capitalist.
Yep.
Versus ANCOM
Correct.
would be anarcho-communist. So basically, let's try. I want to try to hash something out really quick. Let's get to the bare bones. What is the distinction between our viewpoints on this? Like, so your argument basically being that like capitalism is good, but we should eliminate hierarchy. Is that accurate?
No. I would say that's more the ANCOM. The whole idea of hierarchies is more, destroying hierarchies is more the ANCOM position.
Well, to
if
be
I'm
clear,
not mistaken.
that's the anarchist position. So if you don't believe in redressing unjust hierarchies, then you are not an anarchist. You're not an ANCAP.
So the ANCAP position, you'll find nuances here and there, but for the most part, the ANCAP position wants to abolish the state, not governments per se. So, like, for instance, like, if someone has a church group or you go to have a neighborhood association or something like this, technically those are governments, but they're entered into voluntarily. I would say that the main difference, in my opinion, is ANCOM society does not allow for the unlimited right to contract. I can't enter into contracts and make contracts and agreements with people, unlimited in my capacity or their capacity. We can't agree on whatever we want with our stuff. This would be viewed as, maybe exploitation, maybe if someone's being exploited. This wouldn't be allowed in an ANCOM society. In an ANCAP society, it's all about contractual arrangements and voluntary agreements.
So it's like, I love hierarchy. Let's have a lot of it.
Well, as long as it's introduced voluntarily.
Yeah, based on who has money and like, I don't know. I mean, maybe that's where the whole principle falls apart for me. But yeah, continue.
That's what I'm understanding too. It's just you can have the hierarchy just within a corporation.
Yeah, which I guess so anarchism is like unjustified hierarchy, because like as an ANCOM, I believe in having a democratically appointed like council or whatever, like at whatever level, local level or like extrapolated up slightly, but that there should be lots and lots and lots of checks on that. and that every hierarchical position has to be justified, like thoroughly. And we all have to kind of come to some consensus on what is necessary in that sense, like what is strictly necessary, and that no one should have power that can't be checked or can't be corrected for. Yeah, so I guess like, you know, I struggle with that view of like, that's what I think of anarchy being, with like ANCAP, which is like, yeah, we love hierarchy. Like we love people having complete and unilateral power to dick each other over. We don't care about community safety or like the community well-being of the workers.
So ANCAP, you know, what is colloquially referred to as ANCAPistan, the fictional place where everybody lives with, you know, has ANCAP ideals. So in ANCAPistan, one of the main things, along with this idea of contracts, comes the concept of private property, which is another big, you know, difference between ANCOMs and ANCAPs. The idea that, you know, I can have justly acquired property that can basically be unlimited as long as it's justly acquired, purchased, traded for, you know.
How do you define just? Ari's trying to get a word in here.
Well,
I want to let Ari get a word in.
I mean, my biggest thing is like, you keep mentioning contracts, and that as long as somebody's willing to do the work, and it's a just work in a just hierarchy within a system of a corporation, how within an ANCAP society, how are corporations or the people with the capital that are providing the jobs being prevented from abusing their workers, overworking them, stealing their ideas,
not paying them enough, overworking them.
Paying them enough. What's keeping them actually responsible enough, or what standard are we holding them to that they are actually going to pay their employees? What's stopping them from screwing them over?
So ultimately, it would be a check provided by competition, right? So if we go back and you look at how wages actually
How is that
rise.
working right now, though? How is that working right now? Because that is largely how our system works right now. There's this current idea that like, well, if you don't like your job, if you're not getting good enough benefits, then just go to another company. That is the system that we have right now. Joe, in your opinion, how is that working out?
So I agree. What we have right now is total. It's a crazy monstrosity. You know, at this point, see, I would say I'm a proponent of deregulation, but right now in the situation we are in, like deregulating, like picking and choosing deregulations could be way more harmful than, you know,
fully
some
deregulating.
Kind of
because that's what anarcho-capitalism means. It means full deregulation.
Yeah, there is no regulation. That's why I was asking you, like, what? So you're saying, and Lux brought up a great point. We already have a system in place where there's this idea: if, hey, your job's not paying you enough, it's not treating you well enough, go find the next one. But the next one's not really available, and they're all going. And I'm sorry, at least in our current society, how we see it, in some way, shape, or form, almost all of our corporations are screwing over their employees in some way, shape, or form. And so you're just going to the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one. And it's not fixing anything or the inherent root of the problem. So within, like, what's actually so are you saying there's no system that holds people accountable at the top when they don't pay their employees the proper pay?
So to correctly lay out all of the nuanced aspects of the argument for this would take a long time, but let me try and break it down. So, okay, so how do wages and working conditions get better in the first place? Because, like, okay, you guys were talking about the air conditioning thing. You know, they don't have as much air conditioning in France or whatever. When air conditioning was invented, like, immediately, it's like every worker would have wanted air conditioning in their workspace, like immediately, right then and there. But it comes down to natural constraints. Like the resources don't exist to do that right now. So there are going to be companies that do it. Like there was never a regulation that said workplaces had to be air conditioned, but yet more and more workplaces today, like almost all for the most part, at least most of the spaces are air conditioned.
Maybe not specifically pertaining to air conditioning, but OSHA has lots to say about how to appropriately expose workers to heat conditions. So
in France, it's because they believe that air conditioning units contribute to global warming.
Which may have been the case back when they used something with ozone damaging in them, but they don't anymore. So that's kind of fucking stupid. But the reason, Joe, why a company wouldn't choose to upgrade those systems is because of cost. Like we exist in a system currently where making the money is the most important thing, and we don't care if people get hurt. And the more power corporations have, the more they just do whatever they want without regarding how it's going to hurt people. So like, for example, I used to work for the United States Postal Service, a company with more than enough money to retrofit its vehicles to have air conditioning in them, but they didn't. Like they just had a little fan pointed at your face and you had to just cook in an aluminum box all day, basically, or hope that you had a part of your route where you could get out and walk around and, contradictory, get some relief by being out in the weather versus being in the vehicle. And they are now starting to create new vehicles that are air conditioned. So they're, that's cool. But they've had the ability for a long, long time to make this improvement. But there is a financial incentive to not upgrade things. Like this is also part of why we get wildfires, is because there is all this really old infrastructure for electrical lines, and they have failures because, well, it would make our shares go down if we spent the money this quarter to update all of that infrastructure. So they would rather have continued returns on investments and increasing share prices at the expense of, people's lives and millions of dollars of damages from these big wildfires. So like, I struggle to see a system in which retaining capitalism is going to help people versus like, it seems like it's hurting people a lot. And like the less regulation we have, the more it hurts people. So, where do you see less regulation equaling more well-being?
Mm-hmm.
So first, I would point out that you just named a government agency and not a private company.
Did I? Where? What did I say? I'm sorry, what? Because the company
I thought you said United States Postal Service.
Yeah, that's a private. I know that it's confusing. Yeah. It's a private company. The USPS is a private company that has a contract with the government. But the companies that route the electricity are certainly private companies. But yeah, every single example I just gave was a private company.
See, I would see that, and that's another distinction that gets taken for granted is there are no public utilities that I would describe as, at least not in New Jersey, a couple states that I've lived in. I know that these are all government granted monopolies. These are, you have, even the cable in some places, like you only have one option. Who's your electric provider? Oh, and around here it's this. Like that's the only option.
Right. So this is one of the things about capitalism where people are like, yeah, competition is so great, but there's this tendency toward monopoly that has to be regulated and constantly has to be blocked from happening. So, you're trying to say like, well, that's a government mandated monopoly, but the tendency toward companies is to monopoly.
Yeah. We would have that issue if there was, we would see a resurgence of monopolies under a missing regulation that stops it, right? So if we had no government that was responsible for regulating or dissolving monopolies, then that's what we would end up having. Then there would be no competition between companies, and then we'd run into the issue again that all circles back to, how do you stop companies that are employing people from taking advantage of their employees?
So this is done that, and I'll give you. I agree, and you know what? And I'll give you the example. Like, for instance, what's the definition of monopoly? What criteria need to be met for us to say, "Yep, that's a monopoly"? Right? I think and I'm going from the top of my head here. I think the dictionary definition is something about.
do I know the strict definition offhand? No, but you could say it's the primary supplier on the market, or that has the largest share available on the market of a particular item.
Right, and if I'm not mistaken, like if you go to a school for economics, you'll learn that it's actually the antitrust laws. It's an antisocial restriction of output, basically to artificially raise prices. Right. This is an extremely important characteristic, because if you go back and you try to describe the quote unquote robber barons of the 19th century, guys like Rockefeller. Rockefeller had I think 90% of the market share for oil at one point when they created these antitrust laws, but in 25 years he brought the price of oil down by 90%, like from $1 to 10 cents. Like that doesn't meet the definition of monopoly. And by the time they got him into court, just through normal market operations, he had already lost his market share down to somewhere like 20-something%, less than 30%.
Yeah, so Cornell Law School, a monopoly is when a single company or entity creates an unreasonable restraint of competition in a market. So again, that's exactly what I said. You're using the legal definition, which was put on by the government that's about antitrust laws, considering you don't appreciate the government. That's the anarchy part of it. That's a government that you're quoting, so you would be incorrect in utilizing that definition that you are providing, because we are not a part of that government structure in your ideology. So if we just use it, single company or entity is creating an unreasonable restraint on competition in a market, again, that's eventually what we're going to see in an unregulated capitalistic society.
But here's the thing, right? If I have a process or a product and I'm making, like, okay, let's say for something everybody uses, I don't know, cars, right? And I come up with a process and materials that no one else uses and a way to do it and whatever, and I entrepreneur some magical formula that produces cars super cheaply, and because of that, everybody buys my cars, right? Now, I didn't get any subsidies from the government, let's say. I didn't, I didn't, whatever, engage in, guerrilla tactics and take out my competition, whatever. This is just simply, on the market, I'm providing a product and everybody else is providing a product, and people voluntarily choose mine more than they choose anybody else's, so much so that I get a 90% monopoly, of the market share. Like that doesn't, using the word monopoly to describe that situation doesn't advance our understanding of the word in any meaningful way. Like it doesn't really get to the heart of what's wrong with that.
If you pick something that never happens, then that bolsters your argument. Yeah.
But that has happened. That's what happened with Rockefeller with oil. That's what happened with Carnegie, brought down the price of steel by 90%
I'm pretty sure
in a
that
quarter
both
century.
of those people famously fucked over other people, but like I'm not like super hot on my Rockefeller facts right this second. But you have to acknowledge that, like, in any situation, like whether you had the original idea is not really relevant to me, right? Like, yeah, maybe you had the original idea and you made the investment, but like if you weren't on the line with the workers, then truly the value didn't come from you and your idea. The value came from the execution of your idea by many, many workers who deserve to be paid more than they are paid.
Well, that brings up an interesting point. What is value? What does value come from? This is a contentious point. Marx took the classical economist definition of the labor theory of value. The value of things comes from the labor that people put into producing it or mining it or what have you. And the ANCAP position is that value is subjective, like Hamlet, my kingdom for a horse. Value is subjective across time and place. And It's
I
something
mean, that's just
that
historically
you know.
true. So
Yeah, I don't think that Marxists contend that value is context contingent.
No, they absolutely do. Are you kidding me? All right, if you're going to concede that point.
I mean, to be fair, I
Okay,
haven't read a lot of Marx directly. I'm mostly come by these ideas by like exercising what our policy execution should be like. So a lot of the like terms that come up, like I'm not super familiar with all of the like academic the ways that we refer to these things, but yeah, I mean, it is a difference of opinion fundamentally if you believe that like 99% of the value of a product being created should go to the person who originally created it. Um, that's a difference of opinion. If you know, when in actuality, like was the idea very valuable at all if there wasn't like an end product at the end of it? Like did the car have any value before the car actually hit the road? Like who actually created the value? And like I guess that is a difference of opinion. And it's just like it seems very fucking obvious to me that all the people who put their blood, sweat, and tears into the first prototype of the Ford were like more like a bigger part of the value of the car than just inventing the idea in the first place. Not that inventing the idea in the first place is negligible. And I think that there's, you know, definitely that person should deserve like a percentage royalties, maybe, but that's not the same as like, oh, I'm going to siphon off 99% of the value created by my workers because I had the idea and therefore I deserve the money more than they do. Like, I just think that's a not a good way to live. And I don't want that person to be part of my community who wants to take advantage of other people's labor and take all of the spoils of that hard work.
So value in the ANCAP realm comes from consumers, not from workers. So the consumers determine the value of an end product or even a middle stage production product, you know, like refined ore or something like that. The consumers of the end product decide what they will and will not in a voluntary exchanges. This is I'm ruling out, you know.
See, I don't fundamentally disagree that anything can be voluntary in a capitalist system. If there is a pressure that you will die if you don't work, or you will die if you don't get that medicine, then it's coercive. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, like, so if consumers are the ones that determine the value of the product, are consumers then also determining the value of someone's labor?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
100%.
How do they get paid then? So, is it going to only be after the product is purchased?
So no, and that's one of the reasons.
Well, then how do you know the value of the product from the consumers? If the product hasn't been purchased, then it inherently has no value from the start because no consumer has purchased it. So how do you reimburse or how do the laborers not get taken care of? If it doesn't have any value, then we're already saying that the laborer is not getting paid.
Right. It has projected value, right? They're hoping that it will sell at this price, whatever widgets will sell at this price, right? But the people making those widgets, they don't want to wait until the widgets are sold. They may not be sold for a year. They might not even be the final product. Like they might be refining ore, which might go to another process, and it might be a year and a half before it becomes a consumer product. If that guy who's selling that product idea worked and people want it.
If the product pops off, if all the hard work pops off and a company goes viral, as it were, and they make a shit ton of money, who gets the money?
Sure.
Like, let's say they made like 10 times as much money as they put in as far as like labor and parts and everything. Let's say this product, a brand new revolutionary product, made 10 times more money than it took to make it. Who gets the excess value?
Well, I mean, this is all agreements made beforehand, right? So maybe money was lent to him to start this business. I actually
do want to hone in. I want to hone in on this because I think this is the fundamental problem with ANCAPs is how can you have a free agreement to anything if the situation is that if you don't work, you will starve. If you don't have a job, you will not have health care. If you don't pay $400, you will not get your medicine that you need every month. Like, Are you kind of seeing where the issue is coalescing for me? Like, I don't think there's any such thing as a free agreement in capitalism. Every agreement is coerced. Every single contract is coerced. I don't want to pay fucking $2,000 a month for my landlord to not do anything, but I have to live somewhere or I will be homeless and then I will probably get sexually assaulted or die or not have access to medicine or something. There is no such thing as a free agreement with capitalism, point blank, period. Like, there's no such thing as a freely entered contract.
So generally, when we talk about these things, nobody really refers to nature as the coercive one. I mean, we're talking about people
what are you talking about
coercing
nature?
other
Where did that come
people.
from? Excuse me, where did nature come from? I'm talking about capitalism and how you need money to live.
Okay, so you said starvation. So I assumed that you were talking about, hey, if I don't do this, I'm going to starve. Well, it's nature that's starving you. Like you have.
No, honey. No. If a system, hold on, honey, hold on. If a system has more than enough money to feed people, but is withholding those resources because of arbitrary things like, well, you didn't work hard enough, or well, you just entered the wrong contract. That is the system killing that person. That is 100%. You could have prevented starvation and you let that person die. That is choosing to kill someone.
Okay, I'll address that. So, okay, how do I approach it? So, ANCAP's libertarian philosophy, they would say that poverty and, toiling in the dirt, like, agrarian society 1,000 years ago or whatever, that's the default state of humanity. And,
well, they'd be wrong, but okay.
Pick your disaster. Pick your disaster. We could all be in that exact situation. And some parts of the world are, it happens sometimes where things collapse and shit, I got to rely on literally my ability to hunt and grow food in order to survive. That is the
But we have a society. How is this relevant? We have a society with more than enough money, with more than enough resources to help people, and we let people starve. It costs like less than $1 to manufacture large amounts of insulin, and we charge hundreds of dollars a month for it. That's murder, dude. That's murder. And it's caused by people arbitrarily getting to set the price higher. They're like, yeah, but I've decided that I deserve $300 a month for this medicine that costs like pennies to make.
I disagree with that statement. And I would argue that the price of drugs...
Yeah. Which part do you disagree with?
I'm talking about the price. Okay, I'm talking about the price that insulin is sold for. Has 100% to do with...
not with the statement. It's you disagree with the practice.
The regulatory hoops. No. I'm sorry. So the price of insulin has 100% to do with the regulatory hoops that have to be paid for to jump through.
Not at a markup of thousands of percent. Not at a markup of thousands of percent. There's no way.
Look, this is not a secret. That's not a secret. You can look into drug prices.
Yeah, actually, Ari, you're really good at Googling. Let's let Ari have a second to check that.
Are you familiar with unconscionable contracts?
Unconscionable contract. I've never heard the term. No.
So it's when you enter into a contract that is largely one-sided and has the most benefits for one side. How do you account for that in an ANCAP society?
Value is subjective. Anything that makes your life better. If both people enter into an agreement,
we don't account for it. Okay.
Hold on. If I may. If you have a contract, right, and both parties enter into it, and both expect to gain satisfactorily, right, then we call that Pareto superior, right? We know that society has been improved, right? Because nobody was made worse off.
You keep missing something that we're trying to hit on here. What we're trying to hit on, and we've been trying to hit on it repeatedly, is that what do you do if every contract is a rub? What do you do if every contract puts you on the losing end? Because these companies can offer you whatever contract. And Joe, that's at the threat of your life. If you don't accept a shitty contract and you just have zero contract, then you have no means of supporting yourself and you die of starvation. This is the problem that we've been trying to address with you. What do you do if every option you have that every corporation has offered you is a bad deal?
So, and I know you've been trying to harp on that, and I want to
You have
try and
dodged it
frame this
repeatedly,
correctly
so it's frustrating.
because what you're describing. Okay, so all right, so you're
It's
asking
interesting
me.
because I went ahead and looked this up, right? So PubMed, so NIH has a study that goes over the estimated costs in producing insulin. The annual cost of producing insulin is at most $133. And so, sorry, no, $365 a year for a company, yet they're charging $300 to $1,300 for a bottle,
A month,
for a
yeah.
monthly supply. And so what we're looking at is the main reason why the prices are actually so high is because of the corporations that are holding on to the patents and restricting access to people gaining entry into the market of producing insulin. So monopolies.
Yes, yes, exactly right. A government granted monopoly. That's what a patent is.
So but the thing is that you're not against monopolies, Joe. You're pro monopolies so long as it happens in an ANCAP system.
So I'm pro. If somebody could come up with an idea, as long as they're not twisting anybody's arm, as long as money wasn't, taken by force from the population through taxation and and somebody with political connections was given some money to start a company or to subsidize, his company. I have absolutely no problem with somebody, for instance, a Carnegie. You know what? Andrew Carnegie did more for the well-being of the average person than any government ever in the history of forever.
So we should rely on the charity of some guy instead of creating institutional systems that account for everybody.
Oh, we have to rely on the charity of Elon Musk.
Yeah.
In order to enter into conscionable contracts with their employees, even though he literally has it in their contracts that he owns all their proprietary rights to any ideas that they come up with while working with them, even if it's outside of work hours. And this is basically the question that I've been trying to get to this whole time, is like, where is the enforcement on these contracts if there is no government, there is no oversight in your anarcho-capitalistic society? Who enforces those contracts? Who are you beholden to when you enter into a contract?
Obviously, this is hypothetical, right? Because it doesn't exist, but there are, whatever. So there would still be law. There would still be law in an ANCAP society, private property with no government. Just like there's still words, when a judge,
where's the enforcement authority?
What is a state in your opinion? What is a government? Because you said that you're against the state, but not a government, and I don't understand what that means.
So, hypothetically, like a church group or, like I said, your neighborhood association is a quote-unquote government entity. It's just not the state. The state has a monopoly on
in your situation. You have all these corporations. You don't want a state, so you don't want like one overarching government the way that we have it now. You want some kind of government. How does that government access power to enforce contracts? And let's say specifically to enforce the contract on the side of the corporation. Like, let's say the corporation violates the agreement. How powerful can you make the government so that it can actually check the corporation? So that when the corporation violates the contract that you allegedly willingly entered, what's the system there?
So in any state or county or area where you live, there are most of what we, consider to be like the law is all cut and dry except for fringe cases, right? So for the most part, hypothetically, of course, you could go to a private judge and have him render an opinion, and a reputable judge in the area. Judges would still be reputable.
Joe, if the corporation says "fuck you," I don't want to fix the situation. Who do you turn to? What happens?
Okay, so you would take that judgment and go to a company, some sort of enforcement company, and you say, "Hey, listen, my company,
what do they do? Do they send security? Do they send security? Do they go take the money that you're owed? Like, do they go shut down the company forcefully? Like, this is what we're trying to figure out."
So yes, and unfortunately, it's illegal for us to find out what freedom would actually look like. But hypothetically, what that would look like is you take that judgment to an enforcement agency of some type, and they, based on competition, trial and error, they're not going to go in and throw flashbangs in the place, and the community might have a problem with that, and they might not get any more business. But eventually, an equilibrium would set in, and there would be somebody to go to that would exactly know exactly which type of pressure and have the means to produce that pressure to, make the judgment, get fulfilled.
But if the company is a mega corporation and they have endless amounts of money and they just hire more security, like I just don't think that this is a very well thought out position, Joe. Honestly,
It's not.
And I'll concede that that's entirely possible. However, it's like if we entered into a contract and I said, "Hey, you're going to do this job, and I'm going to pay you 5 ounces of silver, and when you get it, I give you 5 garbanzo beans, right?" And you say, "Excuse me, this isn't silver. I want to get paid," and I put a gun to your head, and I say, "No, that's what it's supposed to be." Like, you're going to take it, right? You're being threatened with your life, but nobody in that community would say, "Oh, they're just doing," like, eventually, and this kind of rolls into what my whole problem is with all of these things. Like, we're never going to get the government we want, communist society, anarcho-capitalist society. Like, we have to get over a hump as a species. Like, there's a hump humanity needs to get over, that once we get over it, it really doesn't matter what system is in place at that point. You know what I mean? Like,
please enlighten me as to what it is, because I know what I think it is.
I have an idea too what Florida might be.
I don't know. I'm not saying I know what you think, Joe. I know what my prescription would be if I was like, if we fix this one thing, we'd be much better off. But please tell me what yours is.
So, I mean, honestly, if it was true compassion, if everybody truly treated every other person like it was their brother or sister, I'm not trying to get weird with whatever relationship.
What's really funny is that falls much more closely in line with communistic principles than it does with capitalistic principles. It's really interesting.
I disagree. I think it's just a perspective thing.
Joe, you have capitalism. You already have mostly unfettered capitalism, and we've seen the results of that.
By no means.
It's mostly unfettered. Joe, every single one of our politicians is bought out by somebody. That is capitalism. It's been less and less regulated since the 50s. Like, the fact that these corporations can buy off politicians and reduce their taxes, and now we're all struggling because prices keep going up, but welfare systems have been stripped down by these politicians. Like Joe, we already see what it would be like if we had very little regulations on capitalism, and it's bad for everybody. Capitalism, maybe this is a difference in what it means. To me, my understanding of capitalism is that profit is the most important thing above everything, including human well-being. And when I offer communism as an alternative, I mean human well-being is the most important thing. Profits should not be on the table at all. Money should not matter at all. That's arbitrary. That's fake. We literally made it up. But human suffering versus human well-being is measurable. And it seems like if you let capitalism do its thing, it's more than happy to put chalk in your milk and sawdust in your bread. It's more than happy to poison the ground that you grow your home garden on. It's more than happy with causing cancer in whole communities of people, pumping out toxic sludge into the air. It's like so many situations in which capitalism running unchecked has caused literally poison in the dirt that your children play in outside.
So I want to give you an example of what my concept of capitalism and what you're calling capitalism. So, for instance, OSHA is a government agency, right? And they are regulating the capitalists. Would you say that's accurate?
I mean, sure. Yeah, it's an attempt to check the power of corporations in their exploitation of their workers.
But he's really just
Okay.
like what he was describing on a system to somehow regulate each other, like
Just go to
the
a company to
laws.
regulate the other
Yep.
company. Yeah.
You're just the only way, like you're just describing government. You're
No,
just
no,
describing a
absolutely not.
state.
No,
Yeah, you're describing a
no,
state
that's
government.
political forces.
How
Political
is, let's
forces.
just say, how is Meta going to enforce Google paying their employees?
Yeah. Why does Google have authority over the other company?
Without the size and scope of government today, I would doubt that something the size of Meta would even exist. You know how we have like 6 corporations that provide
I
like
just
basically
gave
everything
2
we watch?
You're
I
getting
don't
hung
think
up
that
on
would
the
even exist
corporation
without
names.
government.
I just wanted to use corporate names that were recognizable just to use them, so we weren't calling it Corporation A,
I'm talking
Corporation
about the
B.
size of them. So I don't care about the name either. I meant,
I don't know what to tell you, Joe, if you
company
think
that
that it's
size.
not possible for a company to get that large with less regulation. You think the companies would be
That's crazy.
smaller with less regulation? Really?
Absolutely, because they'd have
Okay.
to have somebody
I'm
to
sorry,
jump
Joe.
into that
I'm sorry,
market
Joe.
with
You
a
do
lot
not
of
live,
exposure.
Joe, we do not live
That's
in a
not
shared
reality.
reality because, again, we can see what happens when capitalism gets less and less regulated. That's the world we live in now.
Yeah, you're wrong.
It's
You're just wrong.
basically
Yeah,
if
we
you
don't live in a
think
shared
that
reality. You live in La La Land. Like, I don't know where you live, but it's not here.
New Jersey. No,
New Jersey
look,
in like
the
the
example-
fourth parallel, I guess, like just moved over a
Maybe.
few inches to the
Hold on,
left,
hold on.
dimensionally speaking,
You
because what we have right
you cut me
now
off
is
the-
capitalism with very few regulations. And the result
So you
is
cut me off the
widespread
example.
homelessness.
So the example I was trying to make was OSHA, right? So OSHA provides this service. It's a government service, and they keep people from getting hurt, injured, whatever. There is a private company called Underwriters Laboratories. You ever heard of that?
I am
For
familiar
people who
with
work in the
UL. Yes,
electrical
I'm an
industry.
electrician. Thank
Okay.
you.
Awesome. Yeah, I work electrical adjacent as well. So,
Cool.
so when something's UL listed, they're a private company, right? So let's say Underwriters Laboratories puts their stamp on a breaker that causes arc flashes across the land. A whole batch of them, causes arc flashes.
Yep.
They're finished. Like, there's going to be memes with, destroying Underwriter. Like, their reputation is finished. Like, they may not survive something like that, right? However, if an OSHA regulated company, there's some OSHA violations that happen, or the OSHA standards weren't enough. Like, the exact opposite happens. They'll get way more funding now, and they're failing at their job, and we're going to throw more resources at
this
problem.
is conjecture because realistically, UL would pay a fine and they would continue about their business as usual. That's how it works.
Yep.
That's how it works.
That's all they do.
And you keep ignoring what I have repeatedly brought up, which is what we have now is a form of capitalism with very few regulations. Have we lost audio? Have we lost Joe? Okay, he's hung up on us because he can't fucking defend his positions. I think he just pretended he couldn't hear us.
Oh, that one I don't know. But yeah, like it's so it's a very that's why I don't understand I don't understand ANCAP at all.
I don't get it at all.
How would you regulate it? Oh, it is a
just hire your own private security is his answer to that question.
Listen,
like truly, it's a violent world that he wants to live in.
So
like I said, it's like how do you force the company to be in line?
There will still be laws, but there's no government to enforce it.
There's still going to be laws, but just not the way that you think of it. Okay, my thing is different. You just don't understand.
It's very odd. It's very odd, and it's very idealistic, but it's not realistic.
It's somehow more idealistic than my ANCOM bullshit. Like I don't know how you manage that. Just this presumption that everybody's going to do good and that nobody's going to try to exploit anybody. Frustrating.
I appreciate all of my friends that are communists. I don't see and happy birthday, Yoshi. I hope you're still in the Twitch chat. But that's because he's communist, so I'm just saying it that
Sure.
way. But like, I don't see it as realistic, which is why I don't argue for it. Minus, Jimmy and his collectivism.
His communityism thing that he's doing
That's
now.
what it is. That's
Yeah.
what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you. Communityism. Thank you.
Listen,
I thought I got it wrong.
I think if you haven't, and if I haven't mentioned this to you already, I'd be curious what your thoughts are. Probably like look at this later and come back to
Okay.
me like the next time I see you. But the Limits to Growth Report, 1972. It's been published as like a book, but you can see all of the stuff about it online. But essentially, in 1972, researchers at MIT made multiple different economic predictive models to say, like, if we did this, what would happen to the economy in 50, 100 years? And we are on track as of 2020 for their worst case scenario model in which like 5 billion people die from climate change.
Interesting.
And the global economy will stop growing in like 2040 and then will collapse shortly thereafter. And we are on track for that worst case scenario of like we are prioritizing profit over everything else.
Yep.
So when I'm talking about communism and as it relates to this idea of being realistic, it's just going to be a necessity because we're going to balkanize. Like, in my opinion, it seems like if the global economy and large governing systems collapse, which, like, how can you keep the U.S. government functional without a functioning economy? I think it's just going to be necessary to focus on community living.
Yeah, I found it. I'm bookmarking it, so I have it. I found actually the 211 cover and back included PDF file. So cool.
Yeah, and the research has been revisited a couple times, like in 2008 and then as in 2020 it was revisited, and just to see like where are we at compared to their predictions. So yeah, it seems like that's a train that is just not going to stop as far as I can tell. But I'd be so fascinated because you're into stats and stuff. What your opinion is on it? Yeah, for sure.
And for those asking, at least in TikTok, I I typed in Lux's YouTube handle over there, so you guys can go follow it.
Yeah.
I'm reassociating after the last time I was with you. I was like, I'm reassociating that word, so I'm making sure I say it. And
listen,
you explained it, and it was great.
It's they/it at this point. I'm not insisting upon it. If you find that's good practice, then I'm cool with it, but I'm not going to insist at this point.
No, I understood. But the last time we talked and you explained it, I'm like, actually that makes sense. I can see that. And then I'm like, I'm working through that for myself.
Yeah. I appreciate that. I hope that you reveal something to me that makes me think more. I love that about this network where I'm like,
right?
I'm exposed to so many smart people with cool ideas that I'm like, oh, you know what? I was wrong about that, or I could have fleshed that out more. Yeah.
We can see on that one. All right.
We'll see. Okay, let's see what we've got.
Jeremiah.
Yeah. Jeremiah is possibly a troll based on previous conversations, if I'm thinking of this being the same person.
Oh, goodness.
But we're going to give it a shot anyway, because I might be thinking of the wrong Jeremiah. But we will talk to Jeremiah, he, him pronouns, who is self-described MAGA from Tennessee. Jeremiah, you are live on Calling It Now with Ari and Luxander. How's it going?
Hey, good. How are you, Ari and Luxander?
Doing
Living
great.
the dream. Your topic is about MAGA and how much they love women. Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It was a tough conversation.
Seriously, the worst. I actually think ANCAPs are worse than you guys.
I think MAGA is significantly worse than ANCAPs. So let's have fun with this good faith conversation. We're starting on such a good foot here.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? ANCAPs are the worst.
To be fair, they are terrible, but they are not fascists. So
I was gonna say, I think just the ideology is the hardest to back up. That's all I would say. They're not worse.
They are pretty fascist in that it's like, oh, if you don't own property, you're shit out of luck.
And yet that particular ANCAP doesn't even like Trump. So
that's interesting.
Well, but that's why ANCAPs are literally the worst.
Your topic is about how MAGA relates to women.
Loves women. I mean, I'm MAGA and I love women. You guys act like MAGA hates women. I think that's BS. Come on.
Does your sexual attraction to somebody mean that you like them?
No. I mean, I guess like can be used in that way.
Yeah, yeah, I can, right? Like you can be sexually attracted to somebody and still be like your personality is ass. Does proximity equal distance?
Proximity, those are synonyms, I think.
No. The answer, if you input this into Google, the answer would be no, but I'll break down the question and I'll rephrase it for you. Does your closeness to women mean that, or does that absolve you from being able to be sexist?
No, someone can be sexist and be close to women, but someone
And be
can
close to
also be
women. Great.
MAGA and love women.
And so you can still be sexist and be MAGA. Great. So can you like assert for me your claim
And you
is
can
that
be
MAGA
sexist. You
loves
don't have to
women.
be MAGA
So
to be sexist. You can also be
yeah, there's
leftist, and you can be
internalized
sexist as
misogyny.
well.
I can be a woman and I can still be a misogynist. It's internalized misogyny.
Or
It's quite
left-wing
easy to
people can
do.
be sexist as well.
No one's making that claim. Sorry, not effectuate. Can you state how MAGA loves women? What are they doing to look
Well,
out
I
for
mean, I
women?
think MAGA does more than anyone else to like literally protect women, and we've been driving down
Specifically
violent
what?
crime rates, and we've been driving down violent crime rates during the Trump administration down to
Crime rates were
record
already
lows.
on
I
a
think
decline since
Since the
2023.
90s. I thought it was
Yeah,
like since the 90s.
well, we reached a high in 2023.
they're to the lowest
Sorry,
level since
2022 during
like
C19, but
the
we've been on
early
a significant
1900s.
decline. We've been on a significant decline for crime. Also, the OVW, the Office of Violence Against Women is severely underfunded under this Trump administration, and even Todd Blanche at his committee hearing yesterday to be confirmed, acknowledged the fact that they are a year's worth behind on funding all of their grants to the individual counties to actually look out for women. And women's shelters are being affected, domestic violence shelters are being affected, homeless shelters that look after women are being affected, children are being affected, safe transfer of children between parents are being affected because this administration is not doing their job at actually funding these grants. You can listen to Todd Blanche testify yesterday on that. So, how does MAGA love women so much that they're not even funding the grants that they're required to fund, that they've approved funding for?
Are you arguing that MAGA hates women? Just out of curiosity.
She's asking you to clarify what you mean by loving women. She's saying if MAGA
Like
is
I
doing
said,
this,
we promoted
hold on,
policies
Jeremiah,
that
hold on,
have
Jeremiah, hold
protected
on,
women
Jeremiah,
better than
Jeremiah.
ever.
We're focusing on
I
this
blew his
specific
brain.
issue. Ari is asking if MAGA loves women so much, then why would they be taking actions that appear to be harming women?
If they wanted to harm women, why would they be reducing crimes against women to the lowest level since the early 1900s?
Can you address
Why
the
would we be
question being
deporting these
asked?
thugs that rape and murder women?
So you are trying to talk about
You're deporting
immigration.
98% of
I'm talking about all
American
of the criminal
citizens? That's
justice reform
interesting.
efforts by President Trump that have
Okay,
yielded a
we
tremendous
are talking
decrease
about,
in the crime
so
rates that you
please
guys refuse to
refocus.
acknowledge.
We're asking you a specific question. Why would MAGA not try really hard to make sure that these women's services are being funded if they love women so much? Why are they doing things? They're actually actively withholding money that is resulting in women being hurt. Why would they do that if they love women? Why would they not try harder to make sure that funding
There
gets
hasn't been a single
expedited?
woman that's been hurt because of any of these funds being withheld.
How do you know that? That's actually a crazy claim to make. Ari
You
probably
can't
has
name a single woman
examples.
that's been harmed. In fact, if you look at
Jeremiah,
crime rates, women are being harmed
Jeremiah,
less and less thanks to our president.
Jeremiah, do you think that like someone being subject to a violent crime is the only manner in which they could be harmed?
No.
Okay, good. We have a basic understanding. So when the government decided to withhold SNAP money from women with hungry children in Minnesota, why would they do that if they love women?
They only withheld it from women? I wasn't aware of that.
It was SNAP, which often is helping like low income single parents, and single parents are by and large
So
women.
that only hurt women? I didn't know that. I guess Trump must be sexist if he's only cutting SNAP against women. Is that true?
Yeah. Jeremiah, are you like actively a piece of shit on purpose, or is that just something you come by naturally by accident?
Well, let's see. If what you just said is true, then I would agree with you that MAGA is sexist. Did
so
they
you're
only
saying
cut
that
SNAP for women?
them refund, like, okay, so I tried a different example because you decided to completely act like a shithead about the previous
You're
example.
on your third
So,
example now because you
Jeremiah,
keep giving
shut the
horrible
fuck up.
ones.
I'm
You
in the
may as
middle
well
of
give
talking.
up now.
I'm actually about to circle back because we just laid out, okay, this money helps women. And by withholding money, that means that women are not getting access to essential services that they needed, which is a type of harm. And you just were like, there's no substantiated harm. So I tried a slightly different example
There's
in which the harm.
not a single woman that's been harmed. And if you look at crime rates, less women are being harmed than ever.
I am completely not interested in hearing anything you have to say at this moment. Let's take a moment. Let's just take a breather, okay?
A breath. You could even use WIC as an example.
Yeah, I don't actually know if they've underfunded WIC, or that would have been the next example to go to, or that would have been, it made more sense than SNAP as far as women directly. But Ari, what's one of those services that they're denying funding for? Like,
yeah, sure.
Because domestic violence services was one of them, right? So is like, do we think that it's possible that some woman is stuck in a relationship with an abusive man because she can't go to the local women's shelter anymore? Do we think that that could have happened at least one time?
Oh, beyond more than one time. Specifically, I found this. It was actually really easy to find. The Rose Andom Center in Denver lost their funding from the office. The Office of Violence Against Women withheld their funding. And then specifically, Valerie Garcia, who was 36, was shot and killed by her boyfriend, Jesse Glandy, due to the lack of funding. So please back off me with this bullshit. You wanted a name, I gave you a name.
Yeah, I will unmute you, Jeremiah,
Exactly how
so
they
that
were
you can
gonna
respond.
protect her from that
were
violence.
you talking the entire time? Are you so fucking stupid that you were talking the entire time you were muted and literally nobody could hear you? So Ari just told you the name of a woman who died as a direct result of this funding being withheld. Explain to me how MAGA loves women.
That had nothing to do with the funding being withheld. Have you looked into that case at all? You sound very ignorant about what happened.
I mean, I don't have it pulled up. Ari has it pulled up, but
okay, well, Ari, you just cited it. Give me the full circumstance. Why don't you read your article?
You seem
that you're
to know.
ignorantly
You seem
claiming
to know. Why don't you
supports your
tell me about it?
perspective.
If I don't know anything about it, you're right. So please tell me.
You don't know anything about it, and you're citing it. It's total BS. Not a single woman has been harmed under the Trump administration because of the funding cuts. In fact, we need less funding for these things because we have so much less crime going on.
What name did I tell you?
You don't remember the name that you told me? You are extremely ignorant. What are you just arguing out of your butt?
You don't remember the name that I told you. So what name did I say?
It sounds like you can't name a single person that's been harmed by President Trump. In fact, women, there's less crime being committed against them than ever, and you just can't acknowledge it.
That I said, and we're gonna see if you can get it right. Because
I'm not gonna cite the name that you said for you because it was a lie to claim that she was harmed by funding cuts. So ridiculous.
I sent it.
You guys are on your fifth example now. What's your next example?
Lux,
we're still on this one. Yeah, I can see the name. So we're talking about this one example of a woman who died as a direct result of this grant. But do you know anything about the case? Why don't you tell me the details?
She didn't die because of grant funding. That is so ridiculous.
Well, why don't you tell me her name, and then you'll
she
tell me
died
about
because
the case.
Her boyfriend hurt her.
Tell me about it.
She was a victim of domestic violence. There are fewer of them than ever, thanks to President Trump.
Yeah,
Ari, do
you
want
a real person? He's not a real person.
Yeah, Jeremiah, you're a huge piece of shit.
You
guys
are unable to argue.
I hope bad things happen to you. To be clear,
not a real person.
I hung up on him. Yeah, just wanted to make sure he heard that.
Like, you're not real. Like, you're not serious. You don't mean anything that you say. You're just trying to rage bait. All because what? Like, oh no, you're a troll. Like, please do better in life.
A troll.
Like, no woman's been hurt. Also, like, even in spite of Donald Trump's deportation efforts, a woman was killed last month from an undocumented illegal immigrant. So
yeah, we didn't even get into how many women have died from sepsis from not being able to get a DNC during a miscarriage. Like, we didn't even get there.
Nope, didn't get there, but that's easy to do.
That is so easy to do. Yeah.
Fucking hell, bro.
So I'm assuming with Valerie, I'm assuming what you're saying is like there was a shelter nearby, but she was not able to access the service because the service had basically been shut down or dramatically scaled back.
Yeah, they had to fire employees, which means their services were cut. Their access to the number of people they could approve to be within their shelter was cut.
Yeah. Damn. What a terrible fucking human being.
You have to downsize. Like, that's just unfortunately how that works.
Yeah, that's crazy. We have a chill conversation waiting for us in the wings, and we do have somebody else who just called in. Guys, we're going to be here for about another hour. Lines are still open. If you want to make Jeremiah's point in a way that isn't disgustingly obsequious. Yeah, I don't even know if obsequious is the right word. As a gross word, a slimy word. Apply that. But lines are still open. 336-543-2101 is the phone number. It's up on the screen there. Lines are going to be open again for at least a little while longer. And we're going to have a little palate cleanser moment. Are we ready for a palate cleanser? Because we're going to talk to Billy Sipes, he, him pronouns from Texas. Billy Sipes, you are live. What is going on?
Hey, Lux. Hey, Ari. You know what? I'm actually going to have to push back a little bit. I don't think that MAGA hates women.
Oh, yeah.
I think that MAGA hates people who aren't MAGA. And they are just willing to do as much damage to all people as possible. But they are certainly misogynistic bastards. They're just also homophobic and transphobic and basically all of the other terrible stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I don't disagree with you that like the in-group is getting smaller and smaller. That is one of the things that they do. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah, that's fascism, right? I mean, you slowly close that down and you push people out. But so, okay, the reason why I actually called in, because this happened, I was talking with, I'll just say, she's my housekeeper. I've employed her for about 3 years now. She's an absolutely wonderful person. Like literally when I was sick, she brought me food and stuff like that. And she's a born citizen in the United States. Her parents moved here from Mexico, but she was born here. They're naturalized. They moved here legally. She was born here. She got pulled over and profiled by ICE just, what was it? It would have been 5 days ago now. And this is near Houston, where we just saw that fatal shooting of Lorenzo Salgado Araujo, which, so you can imagine how terrifying that is. She had her daughter in the car, she had her grandchildren in the car, and they put her in cuffs just because she was not lily white and she had a slight accent because, again, she was raised by parents who originally came from Mexico, which is just disgusting and horrible to me. And so I wanted to call in to just talk about this is what's actually happening. There's no reason that this should have ever happened to anybody. It's disgusting and I hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was it. I don't know how much of a palate cleanser that necessarily was, but I think it's important that people understand that there is like a realistic human, like her grandchildren were obviously incredibly upset by that experience. Who wouldn't be?
Yeah, they should be. I mean, and unfortunately, because I listened to the majority of Todd Blanche's committee hearing yesterday for his confirmation, which hopefully Cornyn continues. He says he's going to probably vote no, and I hope he does because that means Todd Blanche is not the permanent one. But whatever. I'll go on a diatribe on that. But there are no investigations. There's no requirement for an investigation. According to Todd Blanche, there's basically no requirement for the federal government to give local authorities or share with local authorities anything that they find from their own internal investigation. I never wanted to slap someone so much as I wanted to slap Todd Blanche.
Yeah.
Horrible
No,
person.
I completely understand it. He is literally one of the worst people. And that's difficult to say because there are a lot of terrible people in this government, but he certainly is one of them.
He's
it's a
up
race
there.
to the bottom with these folks.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't even think he makes the top 10 just because of you've got
what great
Trump
company
at the top.
He's in.
Yeah, like they have such, that's a good way to put it. They're in such great company that he is like makes the top 20 but can't make the top 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so frustrating that like
so
it's our Supreme Court now is like, yeah, no, it's totally legal to pull people over because they're brown and to racially profile them for having an accent. Like that's where we're at now, you know. So yeah, people who are born here or people who are at their naturalization ceremonies or people who recently got their citizenship, like nobody is exempt from this if you're brown. Like, congratulations, have fun. Every time you go outside, you're just going to be worried about getting pulled over or thrown to the sidewalk because some cop just like decided to. Like, we've seen miscarriages, I think, of women who have been like on the way. One in particular, there was a woman who was like on the way to her appointment to get her baby checked on, and they pulled her out of the car and like threw her on the ground and she miscarried. So like that's the party of pro-life right there.
Yep. That's
Absolutely.
actually
Party
happened
of
many
family
times.
values.
Well, not necessarily that it ended in a miscarriage, but they've been rough with the pregnant immigrant simply because they were an immigrant.
Yep.
No, it is completely disgusting. I will say this: I on her behalf have engaged an attorney because I believe that was. I think that it falls under illegal detainment. So we'll see how that goes. But that is something that I have going on.
Very kind of you.
But
it's awesome that you have the resources to go after it for sure.
No, we love that. If you sorry, no, Billy, if you ever actually want to get in touch with somebody that I actually know an attorney that works in Minnesota that is expressly taking on cases right now from immigrants. So if you ever want to, actually I knew 2 attorneys. If you ever want to get in touch with direct attorneys, depending on what state they're in, for help, just let me know.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great. Just because of my work, I know quite a few attorneys myself. I've reached out to them, so I've got some good folks, I think. But if I run into anything where I need some assistance, I will absolutely reach out to you. But honestly, this is more like just a call out to folks. Be safe out there. Be careful. They are she was not doing anything wrong. They literally just pulled her over for no good reason at all. So please be safe, especially if you're in the South Texas area.
Yeah, absolutely.
That part's always rough.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Billy. We appreciate you, keeping us appraised of what's going on out there in the world. And, thanks for being cool. Keep being you.
Absolutely, will do. And I'll keep listening.
Leaving the dark side.
Yeah.
Yeah,
hold on 1 second.
100%. And I'll tell you what, debating people like the ANCAP fellow is part of what actually started turning me to it, because that is just, I'm not even going to go into it. Spent way too long talking about it, but it is plutocracy and neo-feudalism, and it's the most ridiculous thing and concept I've ever heard of in my life.
One of my friends, Billy, her name is Mia, she wants me to say that she loves you.
Oh. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I always love coming to me.
There you go.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, you all take care. Have a great rest of your evening, and I will be still listening to the show.
Awesome. All right. Sounds
Thanks,
great.
Billy. Bye. Okay. While we were chatting with Billy, we got a couple more calls screened. So, oh God. Well, okay, hold on. Well, one of them is not really disagreeing with us, so that one's going to wait on the line for a little while. I'm not sure if we're going to take that one, but for now, okay. I got to get some water in a minute. I'll start this call first. We're going to talk to Kai, who uses he, him pronouns, calling from Indonesia. Or hold on, no, independent, calling from California. I looked at the wrong thing. Sorry, Kai. Kai from California. Hello, you're live with Ari and Luxander. What's going on?
I was just chilling, listening to y'all.
Hell yeah, man.
Sweet.
All right. Your topic's about trans. Tell us about it.
Yeah, well, I don't really have too much of an issue with it. It's just when it's being propagandized in society, then I have a problem with it.
Oh, I mean, you're right. I also have a major issue with the Republican Party propagandizing transgender people in society. I agree. Spending $215 million in a 3-month period on anti-trans ads, that's just fucking ridiculous.
Embarrassing, really.
Yeah, totally embarrassing. Totally a bad use of propaganda, like horrible. Then that's not, what are you talking about? You said propaganda.
Well, propaganda can be good and bad, but I mean, like,
yeah,
I can agree with that, yeah.
It can be, but the only people that are putting out ads about trans people, which is a part of propaganda, is the Republican Party that's spending $215 million just at the end of 2024.
Yeah, well, we have social media, so anybody can have a platform to talk, and it's usually a lot of Democratic voices that say, "Oh, it's good, it's all this, it's whatever." I would prefer to have Christian hetero values only propagandized in media.
I really disagree with the premise that any private individual posting on social media is engaging in propaganda. That seems ridiculous, actually.
If the intent is to mislead, sure, that could be propaganda.
Well, you could say propaganda, or you could say just people endorsing something, or, you know, just like advertising something.
How is an endorsement propaganda?
Because it's putting things into the front view of society where people can see it.
So me saying, like, I'll use myself as an example, that love is love and let people be themselves, that's propaganda?
No, more like
okay, well, let that be my endorsement message, guys.
And stuff.
Love is love and let people be people. All right?
Your propaganda-free slogan.
Yeah, also, are you circumcised?
Yeah.
Why'd you mutilate your genitals?
I didn't. It wasn't my choice.
Oh, so your parents mutilated your genitals. That's got to be really hard for you. I'm so sorry you were a victim of child genital mutilation.
Well, it does. I mean, it doesn't really affect me now, but I guess it kind of did when I was younger.
Yeah.
All right, because I guess you got used to it. You grew up?
Yeah, well,
you adjusted?
It did cause some, you know, like, shyness, I would say, maybe. I don't know. I would say it did affect me.
And you said that... Sorry. No, you're going to just troll now.
Why I was shy, but...
But the thing is interesting, Kai, that you're like, I think that we should have Christian propaganda, but it was your parents' Christian ideology that caused them to permanently, like, give you sexual dysfunction, basically.
Well, that's not inherently a Christian take, I would say.
Who else circumcises their kids besides, like, religious people for religious reasons exclusively?
Jews.
Yeah, I said religious people. I did say religious people for religious reasons. So it's Christians and Jews mutilating babies' genitals because...
Yeah, but it's not. So
it doesn't really seem like it's good. It doesn't seem like that's good for society to, like, cut off the tip of baby boys' penises for no reason.
I mean, it's not, and eunuchs are in the Bible, so it's not even against your own religion.
I'm not saying that those things were good back then.
But it's not back then. We're talking about right now. We're talking about your penis right now.
Well, I'm not a eunuch. I can still make babies, so
I think the eunuch thing was kind of a side comment, but
It's still a true statement, like
trans,
eunuch. Yeah, I wasn't calling you a eunuch. It was just the fact that they exist.
Yeah.
No, I get that. I'm not. I'm cool.
I'm still just, yeah, I guess like, okay, so if we're going to define propaganda as like something that exists to persuade a person, right, then I can agree that propaganda is not inherently a bad thing. And so like, I guess what you're saying is that like the idea that being trans is okay and good is bad propaganda. Is that kind of what you're driving toward?
Yeah, I just don't want it where people can see it exactly. I'm okay with them.
What do you want me to do as a visibly trans person when I go out in public? Or should I just not go out in public?
I would just say to adhere to like the normal code of social behavior.
Well, what does that mean? What I'm saying is
what's normal.
You want trans to not be visible, and I'm saying I look trans. So how do I go through my life if you don't want trans to be visible where people can see it?
Well, just not insisting on like your pronouns.
So you want me? Start. Well, but you're missing the critical element of what I'm saying. You're saying you don't want trans to be visible in society, but I'm saying I look trans, and there are people who look even more trans than me, and who like are very obviously trans and gender nonconforming. How do we exist in society if you think that that shouldn't be visible, or are you reneging and you're saying it's okay for trans to be visible? Just don't talk about it.
On media, not necessarily in like person to person.
So you think I should not be able to post a selfie where I look visibly trans and I say, love being trans, what a beautiful day to be trans. You think that I shouldn't be allowed to do that?
I would say you could, but I would say you'd have your own like part of the internet for that, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, so you think it should be like separate? You think it's equal, but it should be like separate but equal
and hidden.
Yeah, I don't think that children should be exposed to material like that.
What if I have a child who goes to elementary school and I attend the PTA meeting as a visibly trans person?
As long as you're not like trying to like force your pronouns, or just
what do you mean by forcing pronouns? What do you mean forcing pronouns? I don't know of any.
Right. I don't know of any hetero people that just like exude like try to express to other people who they are. Like,
are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Straight married people with their wedding rings, with their photos of their loved ones on their desks, like big macho manly men who refuse to wear pink and grow out a big long beard. Like, there are absolutely ways in which straight people assert visually and verbally, very affirmatively and very emphatically, that they are straight and that they are a cis man or a cis woman.
And it's propagated everywhere. It's like fucking Disney movies. Like, goddamn, can I like get off
all those heterosexual kisses? Like,
I don't like it.
Defiling my children.
Yeah, defiling my senses. Like, can it not be on the screen? That would be great. I think it should not be on the screen like that.
It's kind of gross, for real.
Yeah.
So do you find like hetero relationships gross for other, like if your friends are hetero?
They shouldn't be shown to children. I'm not saying they're gross, but they shouldn't be shown to children because that's a negative influence on them.
I would have to disagree because it's more of a natural way of doing things.
That's a fallacy, but also like it is. What do you mean by unnatural? What do you mean by unnatural? Because not only are humans expressing homosexual behavior, but other animals do it too. So what are you talking about? Or are we not talking about gayness? Sorry, we kind of flipped back and forth between trans and gay for a second there, and I got confused.
Yeah, we did. I'm also confused.
But being gay, it seems like it's natural in the sense that we are not the only animals that do it. So I don't know where you're coming from on that.
Yeah, well, I basically just want to minimize the propaganda of trans.
That you're kind of dodging what I just asked you, which was I want you to help me understand this. Like, what is natural about being heterosexual that's unnatural about being gay when humans and other animals are gay.
Just for reproductive nature, the nature of reproduction, not necessarily.
But we
for
don't just have sex to reproduce. There are a lot of other nature-based reasons to have sex.
That's relationships. I'm talking about reproduction.
Well, but that's all nature, though. It's all nature. Like, relationships are part of nature because we form social bonds, and so do other animals. So, you can say, like, okay, I only support these pairings that result in offspring. Is that what you're saying? Like, the only valid relationships are ones in which there's offspring?
Crazy.
The only propaganda I would accept, like being in the mainstream, would be that, yeah.
Wait, so you want to show sexual material to children? That sounds weird.
You want to propagandize children into heterosexuality is kind of explicitly what you're saying.
Prince. No, it wouldn't be explicit, obviously. It'd be just like what we have the old time, like Sleeping Beauty and all that, just like.
Sleeping Beauty was about violating consent. You can't consent to things when you're asleep.
Yeah, that's a bad call, dude. That's a bad example.
Oh, Pocahontas then, I guess.
Oh, cool. That's even better.
Yes, let's celebrate the murder of indigenous people. Yeah, that's all. That's great.
What great propaganda you're endorsing here.
Okay, fine then. Teen Titans cartoon from like 2000s.
Oh, yeah, where they're just being misogynistic. Raven can't do as much as Robin. Yeah, that's cool.
I wouldn't say that. Raven's pretty OP, but...
Yeah, no, I agree. She was awesome, but they didn't treat her that way. You're not giving great examples here.
This is also like
I don't know.
Cartoons,
I
which
really
is
can't see the sexism in Teen Titans. I really couldn't. And I've watched all of it, pretty sure.
Yeah, I think that the problem that we're running into, Kai, is that you have not substantiated why, like, Christian propaganda is good, but gay propaganda is bad. Like, because you're saying propaganda is good. You're saying propaganda is good. So does that mean that we shouldn't depict relationships with, like, people who tried and couldn't have kids? Like, is that not a valid family style to be represented?
Yeah, it could just have a higher age at which you could see that type of material, maybe.
Sure.
I mean, I'm not trying to get too specific on how to regulate it.
Are you placing a moral value on having babies?
Because that's what keeps society running, and society is so good.
Okay, that's
for life.
That's like one of the things that keeps society going. But you know what also helps a society go is having adults who don't have children who can assist with caretaking duties.
Oh, that's very true too.
Yeah, aunties and uncles and grandmas are like a necessary part of a community because they offer essential child rearing assistance. So gay parents are good in that they can adopt children also. They don't have their own offspring, so they can adopt. So it is still a valid family style that can result in children. Like, I don't really understand where you're coming from on this.
Well, you say lack of resources, right? That would be the main issue of having a baby and not knowing what to do with it, or what?
I mean, what I was trying to say is that people who don't have children also serve an integral part in society. Like you kind of reduced all of society down to having children is the only good thing that you can do in a society, and we need to support and propagandize that. But what I'm saying is gay relationships can also help society by, adopting children that are unwanted, or that, your child-free auntie can watch your kid for you. And that is an integral part of society also. Like you're reducing everything down to like, let's propagandize baby making because that is what makes society go. And I'm saying that that's not the only important thing.
Yeah, because like, what do you do about, but Kai, what do you do about the women that were born female at birth, assigned female at birth, that were born without a uterus, so they're incapable of carrying a child? What do you do about men that were assigned male at birth and that are infertile? They cannot produce a child. What do you do about those two?
What would you want me to do about them exactly?
Well, you're the one that says that people should only be in relationships that can produce children. I'm giving you two examples of two individuals that cannot produce children, and they're both married to individuals that can produce children. So what can those relationships not be propagated by society and normalized by society? Should they not be shown on things like, let's just say, Modern Family?
Yeah, does that need to be kept in secret and hidden from children?
From children, I would say yes. But there would be wiggle room in there if they are
What are you
if they're young
about?
And they're very much wanting to be trans. I could see there being wiggle room in them getting
this has nothing to do with
media.
trans.
We are not talking about trans right now.
Yeah,
dude.
That has nothing to do with trans. I'm pushing in on your argument about heteronormative relationships that can produce children should be what's shown to everyone, and that should be what's shown in the media and what's propagated outside on the streets and things like that. So I'm pushing back on that because there are heteronormative couples that are incapable, at least one person is incapable of producing a child for whatever reason. What do you do about those couples? Because they exist all the time. Everywhere.
Do they want that identity to be propagated? It's kind of the question.
Yes, they want their situation to be known.
They want it to be normalized.
Yeah,
for sure. That you don't want people to feel like they're freaks or they're less than because they can't have children. So it's like it's important to represent those stories so that when people go through that hardship of they wanted children but they can't have them, then that's treated as a normal, and it doesn't mean that they're bad. And so we're asking, how does that situation interact with your worldview that relationships that don't result in children need to be hidden from children?
Well, like I said, there could be alternative media, but you'd have to kind of sign up for it maybe. I'm not 100% on how it would work.
Why is the responsibility not on parents to ascertain whether something is appropriate for their children? Why are we offloading the responsibility onto some regulatory body and not just expecting parents to engage with the media that their children are consuming? If a parent wants to say, you're not allowed to watch anything with gay people, why is the responsibility not on that parent? Why are you saying it's someone else's responsibility to make sure the kid never sees gay people?
Why would you even want to make that a thing? It's so
weird. Because I think it'd be best for the common good, and you could just say that's my preference.
What's the common good? And who determines
common good is a healthy society that's producing more than it's consuming.
We have plenty of babies.
In regards to people as well.
We seem to be doing just fine with the amount of gay propaganda we have right now. Like, people are still having babies. It seems like the biggest barrier to people having babies is the economy. So I don't know why, in terms of trying to support people having babies, you're making an argument about trans people and not an argument about let's make sure that there's adequate childcare and funding and national healthcare service, universal healthcare, so that women never go in debt from childbirth. That's the reason why people don't give birth right now, is because it's fucking $30,000.
Some people, if you have insurance, it's actually more because they upcharge.
For sure.
Right. Well, I do have a solution for that too. I mean, it wasn't just one of the debate topics I wanted to talk about, but yeah.
I mean, my question is, why are you focusing on trans people, which is a very small percentage of the population? And by the way, trans people have kids. we have kids, like our own biological children, before, during, and after our transition. So we have children, and we are normal adults. We take care of our families. So that's kind of, I'm leaving that on the table. How is it that you're making this argument about trans people, which is such a small percentage of folks, or even about gay people, which is also a small percentage of folks, but your primary argument here has not been, we need to support families financially to make sure that they can have lots of babies for the GDP. You know what I mean?
Fucking weird.
Well,
Which that's
it is kind
to
of
be
that
clear, that's weird, but go for it, Kai. Sorry.
So, no, it was just a lot to. What was the question again?
Why is it that you're bringing up trans in relation to we need to make sure people are having enough babies? Why are you focusing on trans being visible rather than we should be supporting families through the economic means? Like, why are we not just making sure that people can afford to have children?
Well, it's just one of the parts, and it's mostly because propaganda does work, and it can create people that do regret transitioning. So I think that is worth.
Yeah, that's an even smaller percentage
some type of regulation.
Yeah, you're talking about like literally a dozen people total on the whole planet, basically. I'm exaggerating slightly, but it's like a very minuscule number of people who regret their transition, partially because the barrier to accessing transition in the first place is so incredibly unreasonably high.
Yep.
But yeah, again, we are not talking about something that is dramatically impacting birth rates because trans people have children.
Yep. In fact, I know one. I met them in New York.
Yeah, I know several trans people who've had children. People have children at all phases. People have, I don't, post what operation? What are you talking about? Like after you have your gonads,
the entire reproductive parts of the person.
Kai, I was in the middle of explaining, yes, obviously if somebody has surgery that removes their reproductive capability, then sure. But the majority of trans people don't have that procedure done. And even then, you could store your eggs or your sperm.
Exactly.
People have children. Yeah, you're right. People have children post transition because they can save their material.
Yep. There are so many ways they can solve kids.
Yeah, so this has nothing to do with whether birth rates are going up or down. So I don't really know why you think that's related.
I'm saying it would help. I'm not saying it's like the main cause, but it would help.
But trans people have children, so actually it doesn't impact whether or not people are having children if they identify as trans.
Not at all.
It's completely unrelated.
Yeah, I'm talking about having children in a hetero relationship, like a Christian hetero relationship. That isn't trans.
Why does that matter? Like, why would that matter if the children are happy and well-adjusted?
Because I think it's important for society to have a baseline of civility, and then all the outcasts.
So you want society's baseline of civility to be architected off of a book that promotes slavery and rape.
And property, people as property as well, just like women.
Yeah, and killing children, killing babies. Like what you're saying genocide. Is that, yeah, your model of a good society is this book that tells you how to systematically kill and enslave people when you invade them. Like that's happens a lot in the Bible, actually.
Well, there are hermetic beliefs in Christianity that say the Old Testament is literally the devil and Jesus is us.
Okay, well, Jesus with his own mouth, Jesus with his own mouth said, I have come to fulfill the law, not to get rid of it. Not one jot or tittle shall be changed. So those people are going against Christ's word directly. Christ said he is not here to abolish the old law.
Matthew 5. It's clearly in there. He even says that until heaven and earth are no more, heaven and hell are no more, the law lives on past him. So it doesn't matter. The law is still valid. It is still active to today. The old laws of the Old Testament.
Yeah, but some Christians see it as a continuum. It's not. It's a transition of power and.
Cool. So you're not even following you're not even following your own Bible then.
Well, who's to say that what we have as the Bible now isn't been altered to fit a certain perspective of people down the line?
You look at the original Aramaic. You look at the original Aramaic, German, or Hebrew versions of the Bible. That line is the same.
Right, but how do we know that those are the original when we haven't been around since then? All it takes is one generation to change a whole document.
people can still read that. People are still taught how to translate the original version of the Bible.
Okay, well, I mean, slavery really isn't that bad if you just consider that being in debt is being enslaved.
My fucking...
I missed out on the conversation for a second. What happened?
Oh, I mean, he just jumped off my point to just say that slavery isn't bad.
Oh, okay. We're at the slavery is not bad portion of the conversation. Cool.
Yeah.
That's always fun. Christian apologetics
I would like
is always
to get
fun.
back to like more of a normal part of it.
Well, I mean, Kai, the reason why we're on this right now is because you're saying that you want to implement Christian propaganda because you think that's the best way for people to live. And we're saying, well, let's dig in then. Let's talk about what Christianity is, what it means, and what it says. Your Bible advocates for a lot of bad shit. And so we're trying to confront you on that because it really doesn't seem like Christianity is a good basis upon which to form a society. It seems like a really violent way to organize a society. It seems like an inherently unequal society that treats women and children as property and endorses slavery and genocide and killing babies. And it is pro-abortion too, which is weird because a lot of Christians are anti-abortion, but your book is pro-abortion. So that's why we're digging in on this, Kai. I don't really understand what justification you could have to say Christianity is a good way to organize society when your book is full of so much bullshit.
Right, I'm just using the Bible as a I'm using the Bible as a citation, not necessarily the entire book.
What does Christianity mean?
You don't have to call it.
Where are you getting Christianity from, if not from the Bible? Where is the substance of Christianity from, if not from the Bible?
Right, and you can also take pieces of something and not include the whole thing, right?
Right, but who decides what part of Christianity gets implemented as our official propaganda?
Well, what I'm talking about is idealizing what I think, right? So my opinion, it would be
you're cherry picking and being ideologically inconsistent.
Well, I mean, Gandhi had good ideas, right? All these people have good ideas, but to say it's taboo for me to pick specifically certain aspects of behavior out of books.
The problem is that other Christians are not necessarily going to agree with you, Kai. So first of all, we haven't even touched on like what you're wanting to do is organize our whole society around your religion, which absolutely the fuck not. Like just absolutely not. I'm an American and that's not gonna fly here. Sorry. That's not America, dude. If that's what you want, move to fucking Saudi Arabia or some shit. That's not what we do here. But you're saying you want society to be based off of Christianity, and it is critically important to figure out what elements of Christianity we're talking about. And if we're looking at this, would it be better? Would it provide more clarity? Would it provide a better framework if we just took those elements and looked at them from a secular point of view and created a secular worldview in which we include all of the good morals and exclude all of the bad morals, like the immoral things that God tells you to do in the Bible? Like, we don't need to cherry pick the good and from the bad in our worldview, because our worldview is predicated on the idea that humanity is unique. It's the only life we have. We can measure suffering and we can measure well-being, and we want to maximize well-being and minimize suffering, harm reduction, mutual aid, caring for one another in a supportive fashion. Now, interestingly enough, some of that is Christianity, because Jesus, the person, advocated for like caring for your neighbor and not being judgmental and shit like that. So that part of Christianity I agree with, but I cannot say Christianity as a whole is a good way to organize a society because of all of the bad shit. And because you, Kai, as a Christian, are not going to agree. If I pick 5 random Christians, there's going to be some aspect of the Bible that you guys disagree with, or that you guys think we should or should not implement. Yeah.
Because that's why we have different sects of Christianity, right? You like
literally hundreds.
Yeah, that's why we use Christianity as an umbrella term, and that's why some people, if they don't want to be associated with it, they say that they're non-denominational, which is probably the better way to be if you're going to be Christian, is just to be non-denominational, not follow any specific line of teaching that gears you towards one direction. It's just like if that's why I can't get behind a basis or a baseline of objective morality to start with, because there's so many different thought processes on how it works, and we're breaking it up into different areas, different sects, different types, and there's no real definition. And even then, if you look at what you're just talking about, Kai, on your own beliefs on transgender individuals, did Jesus say that people that were not normal, did they have to hide themselves in Jesus's world, or did he accept them and he washed their feet?
I think Genesis talks about being fruitful and multiplying, and you can't really do that.
You don't like Genesis. I asked about Jesus. Did
it's
Jesus?
It's a continuum, though.
But you don't like the Old Testament. You don't like the Old Testament, so why are you bringing up the Old Testament?
I didn't want to get into it because it just takes a really long time to explain the scriptures you're talking about.
Yeah, but you don't like the Old Testament, so because you said that slavery is no longer a thing.
But you said it doesn't apply.
Why
would you reference it?
Well, since Christianity is so well established, that's where I'm coming from. So anyone can come in and relate to what we're talking about.
Okay. But this doesn't answer my question, so let's try this again. Kai, you're still moving away from the direct question I asked you. Answer this directly, okay? We're going to ask this again. Did Jesus, right, when he was arisen, he came here, before he was killed, even after he was killed, he was around all different types of people, including prostitutes, including the gays, including transgender people, eunuchs. Did he tell them that they needed to hide themselves, or did he accept them and even wash their feet?
Yeah, well, he loved them, and he also told them to change their ways, if possible, if it was within their capacity to do so.
That would be for the prostitute. How did he tell the gays or the eunuchs to change their ways?
You just do your best. That's kind of the basic gist of it. If you can, you do.
How do people that are gay and or eunuchs change their, how do they change their ways?
They can change their ways.
How?
But it would probably
we know.
I
know there's one example you could give. It would be JD Vance. You could have just said, "Look at JD Vance" or something. I'll help you out with that one.
Is that a joke or something? I don't know. I'm not really into that. I actually voted for myself in the election, if you'll believe it.
You're not old enough to be president, so I don't know why you'd vote for yourself.
Just for fun.
Literally,
I live in Calgary, so I didn't expect my state to win, so I did it for
trust
fun.
me, I get it. I'm from Kansas, and it felt bad every time I voted for a Democratic president, and my state went red anyway. I get it. As a Californian, if it's like the same situation where your vote only fucking matters if you're from Pennsylvania. I get it. So that's a good meme. That was a fun meme. Why do you think you should be able to cherry pick which parts of the Bible we base our entire society off of?
Mostly because I'm conscious, and I believe that some people will agree with me.
What level of consciousness are you actually on? Because if you are not a troll,
do I need to join you? Do I need to go get some psilocybin and join you?
Because you're elevated as fuck.
I've been sober for a year.
Troll.
So.
Okay, cool.
You're not a real person. You're a troll.
No, I'm not a troll. I actually do care about you in the conversation.
Okay,
and I
but
care about your opinion.
why would you being conscious endow you with a particular authority over over other Christians who might think that they want to pick different parts of the Bible to enforce on people? Why do we listen to Kai's opinion about this?
Oh, we
Why
could
not
listen
just
to
go to the
anybody's.
Pope?
We have the free will to, right?
Okay, but what you're talking about is prescriptivism. What you're saying is this is what we should do as society.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's narrow in on this. Let's narrow in on this. When you're talking about here's what we should do as far as children's media, here's what should be available in children's media. By what enforcement mechanism? What are you talking about? Are you talking about we need to pass a law? Are you talking about Netflix needs to have a separate section for kids that are homophobic? Like how do we enforce this? How do we make it occur?
Well, you would just have different internets that you can, kind of like the dark web, you can only get to it a certain way. It'd be like that.
So you are saying what you're saying is you just want parents to have more tools to control what their kids access. You want parents to be able to opt in to a different internet service.
Not just children, but everyone. But it's also a choice too, so they can opt into these other alternative medias.
Okay, so if all you're saying is that we should just have an alternate version, or like there's a
filter, I guess you call it.
there's like a filter that you can apply to YouTube that like it filters out the cuss words on YouTube videos. Like so there are tools like that exist. They made an episode of Good Mythical Morning where they tested that. So, like, if you're just saying that there should be more tools for parents to choose or for people to choose what they see, then I don't necessarily have a problem with that.
Yeah, that's
because
different.
Parental controls already exist on ISPs and stuff. So, like, yeah.
Like, let me ask it this way. Maybe Kai, since he's not a troll apparently, will understand this. Should Luxander ever go outside?
Yeah. Sure.
Why?
But I'm not allowed to tell people my pronouns, is what Kai is saying. So it's okay for me to go outside, but I should never tell people what my pronouns are because that's too far.
But what if they have to ask Lux what their pronouns are because they can't tell by looking?
Well, we could also just get rid of pronouns in general, so no one has to make that leap. We could just use alternative words.
You just use a pronoun in your sentence.
Right. But none that...
I don't know how to tell you that completely restructuring the entire English language is not about to happen.
It wouldn't even just be the English language. You'd have to restructure every single language in existence.
Yeah. Except for like whatever Swedish that has neutral pronouns, but they still have pronouns. So
yeah, they still have pronouns.
Yeah.
No, I know, but you going out, I wouldn't consider being propaganda.
But if I tell people my pronouns, that's propaganda. You said that earlier.
I would say no, because you're not really on a platform and you're not producing like physical media about it. Like
it's on a platform
like a parade
right now.
You go see.
What if I post on my social media? What if I say, "Hey, my pronouns are they, them. I'm trans. It's great being trans. Here's a picture of me being visibly trans on my social media."
Yeah, that would be propaganda.
Okay, so
did you go
the
outside
thing is,
last month?
Yeah, the crazy thing, Kai, is that those are functionally the same thing, like existing in public spaces, like the internet, the social media, those are public spaces. And if I exit my house, I am in a public spaces. And I might I might only have 10 followers on Instagram, but I might run into like 200 people at the music festival or whatever that I go to. So it's kind of weird for you to draw this distinction because they're both just different versions of being in public.
Well, I would only say the most PC approach to limiting that type of media,
What?
It's just so
the most that it could get without it like lacking effectiveness. But the other point I wanted to bring up was the lack of resources, and you're saying how people are struggling and stuff. My solution would be the right to a job.
Not everyone can work.
Yeah, well, so not everyone can work, but you're saying that you want to compel companies to give people jobs? Is that what that means?
More like a government company that is required to offer people jobs. They don't have to take it. Like you can express your right, but you don't have to take it. There would be capitalist jobs.
That's a new take.
Available.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, yeah. What about people who like, let's say somebody got in a horrible car accident and it mangled both of their legs, and so they can't work a lot of jobs. What do we do for that person?
Well, we would have to have a social network for them.
Okay.
But the thing is, though, I'm thinking with the right to a job, most of these people could actually just rely on the charity of the middle class. They possibly wouldn't even have to need government assistance in some degree.
Yeah,
are you proposing like the government is offering every single citizen a job that they can work with a progressive living wage?
It would be a wage that they can. It's a first stepping stone type of job, so they could. There would be
not a living wage.
Room to progress. Yeah, I guess you could call it that. Yeah, but it would also include like
minimum wage.
It would probably, but it would also include
then the middle
free
class
housing.
Can't help other people.
Well, no, it would include free housing too, though. So
okay,
right.
So it'd be less than minimum wage because they wouldn't have to pay for so many things.
We would need to hammer out the details big time. But I'm so fascinated with the idea that we should.
One.
Do you think that we should also make sure that those jobs are available to trans people?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Okay, so you do want your Christian-run society to, through tax dollars, subsidize trans people's lifestyles. That's interesting. But you don't want trans people to be considered normal in terms of propagandizing normality of trans people. So fascinating.
Yeah. It would go to that filter on the internet type thing, because most of the other things you couldn't regulate properly anyway, and it wouldn't probably be that effective anyway.
Okay, well, this has been a really interesting and weird conversation. We do have one caller remaining and only 15 minutes left, so I'll let you get your last comment in here. But I would love to talk to you again next Thursday. I'll be here again next week, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
At what time?
Same time. What do we start at? Like, what is it? 5 p.m. Central Time? Yeah, this show starts at
Fridays?
On Thursdays, right? 5 p.m. Central?
Yeah. No, I thought you were talking about like coming. Oh, okay. I thought you were saying like come back tomorrow. I'm like, wait, Friday is the.
No, sorry. I meant next time I'm here next week. On
bad.
Thursday at 5 p.m. Central next week, I will be here. I might have a different co-host, but I'll probably be here.
Cool. My final point is the jobs, they would be agricultural, so it'd be producing physical goods, so it wouldn't be as much of a strain on society because it'd actually be producing and not inflating the economy. And there's probably something else. I have a petition on change.org for it too, so I haven't hammered out all the details. It's just on there. Yeah.
Cool, dude. Yeah, I look forward to talking to you more about that idea in the future. But have a good day, man.
You too.
Okay, our last caller we're going to get in here because we only have like 10 minutes. Amir, who is a conservative from New York and uses he, him pronouns. Amir, you are live with Luxander and Ari. How's it going?
Hey.
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
My voice is tired, but I get to rest soon.
Yeah, love that one.
Tell us why conservatism is the best outlook on life.
I really actually, false alarm. I'm actually a liberal. I just wanted to, just because it put me in higher in the queue. I would actually consider myself on the left. I voted for Joe Biden. I'm a liberal. The reason
I'm just not dealing with it right now. I'm sorry. I'm just not.
Exactly. My mod says boundaries. I just like look over, it's disconnected. It's like, oh, fantastic. I love it. Like,
I lied to get on here and talk to you. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna reward that behavior by talking to you. That's crazy.
No, that's
you got to at least pretend for 5 minutes, you know?
Right, like at least play it off.
And then I'll hang up on you.
Oh, Jared, thanks for the gifted subs in Twitch.
Oh my gosh. You know what? Let's take a minute to just glance at the supers. Since we have a little bit of time.
We have a bunch.
Yeah, we do.
We can swap over to that, and I'm gonna see. Summer, can you come up? Let me see if
Puppy.
I can get my dog to get her face on screen. She's not great about that sometimes. Come here.
Yeah, I mean, she's not a small dog.
There she is.
Baby. Oh my goodness. What mix is that?
She is an Australian Shepherd.
Okay. I was like, that is a very corgi-looking face for a second, just from the side.
Yeah. So this is her. I'm sorry for all of the barking that she does on stream, and I'm just like, She's like, I just want to protect you. There's other dogs outside.
Yeah. Jail for puppy. Jail forever.
There's my dog tax. Y'all heard her, so we'll put her on screen. We got you.
Yeah. Okay. If one of the super chats mentions Mina, then I might disturb her rest and make her be on screen.
Oh, okay.
She is available, but you got to get super chats for her. So she's got to pay her rent. You know, this is how she pays her rent, is by people mention her in the super chats, and then I bring her on camera. Joshua Everett says, we've had our last real election. Trump's going to announce investigations and arrest of every person opposing him. Oh, it actually pops up on screen. Cool.
It does, yeah. If you hit send.
I wasn't sure if it was set up to do that, but it is. Cool. Yeah, thank you, Joshua.
I'm not sure. So I saw this clip today where a reporter asked Caroline Leavitt, is Donald Trump going to acknowledge the result, accept the results in November's midterms? And she was like, you just wait to watch what he's going to say at his address tonight. Okay. Basically, I'm obviously summarizing.
Okay.
But just wouldn't answer the question. She would never say it that way. She's going to go down this whole fake smile, my face is broken talking point, because she gets too much Botox. Yeah. Okay. Then we have.
Yeah. I want to be capriciously selective because we do have a lot of them. So I'm not. Sorry if yours doesn't get read out. We're just going to read out the ones that seem fun. Because we're just killing time to get to the 3-hour mark. And even if we don't get there, I'm okay with it. I'm so sleepy. I have so much homework to do.
That's not fun.
I actually like it a lot.
I like this one from Gertrude.
Yeah.
Lux's comment about cognitive dissonance reminded me of my favorite furry pun. How do you titillate an ocelot? You oscillated. So what happens is I start reading it, and then I'm reading it out loud with you. As I don't ever read them fully before I put them up, and I do that on my own stream, so people get me sometimes. So I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's like when Erica starts reading something, and at first it's kind of like an exciting science thing, but then it turns into a pun, and you can just watch her go through this roller coaster.
With you.
Yeah.
Yeah, watch the realization occur. It is great.
It is very funny. True. Agent says, I don't know them, and it doesn't bother me, so I don't care. Most honest Republican. True.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's a very honest statement. I did like this one also from Gertrude. He calls himself invisible because he lacks the capacity to reflect.
That was good. I saw that when it came in. It was very funny.
I laughed a little bit.
There is no use of the mute button that would be abuse from Caracal. I really just like to verbally bitch slap people, I think. Instead of mute them, I'm I'll just say things like, wow, it's crazy how the middle of my sentence interrupted the beginning of your sentence. Isn't that crazy?
I love that one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Let's see. Everyone's just hashtag Team Luxing you. It's great.
It's true.
Oh, this one was good too. Thanks, Katie. It said, this is for the funeral fund for Invisible because y'all crushed him.
Yeah, exactly.
I missed that one.
Let's see. We don't import people. Thank you, Mira. We don't import people, you fucking racist. People come to us legally and go through the process for citizenship on visa and still get deported. Yeah, that bothers me a lot. Where do you... It's not like the African slave trade. We didn't go collect a bunch of them and bring them over here on a boat and said, get to work. They came here because they were seeking opportunity or they were running from gang violence or something. and like this is supposed to be the land of opportunity, and we're just abusing them horribly. And how awful is that to look to America as like that's the place to go if you want land of opportunity, and then to get absolutely bitch slapped out of here is crazy.
Yep. And the fact, okay, so this is, again, I don't know why I do this to myself sometimes, but I watched fucking Todd Blanche at his potential promotion hearing, right?
Yeah.
And I think it was Josh Hawley. Like, fuck Josh Hawley. Okay. Like, you did one good thing and now just go crawl in a hole and never show yourself again. But he was holding up, it was either him, I can't remember which one, but I'm pretty sure it was Josh Hawley. It was like holding up a stack of papers and he's like, this administration has filed the most denaturalization paperwork in history. Like, why is that a good thing?
Yeah.
Why are we like, there's only supposed to be one reason why people are denaturalized is because they are found to have lied explicitly on their paperwork and it comes out later. They are just assuming that all of these people lied on their paperwork and just saying, let's see what we can get through. And it just.
Yeah. It flies in the face of all of our procedures in a way that is very frustrating for the neurodivergent brain.
Yes. And as Neely also points out, or actual treason. Like, what did they do to commit treason? I'm just.
Yeah. Just asking. We just got questions.
I had two friends that decided to go down like a rabbit hole of figuring out why all the neurodivergent people that they know they don't engage in isms. And it's because we like to dig and learn and find things out.
Yeah, and it's really hard to be istic of any kind when you are empathizing with a group of people having learned about them, which is not to say that autistic people are morally pure in any way, but it just seems like we are less likely to be like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're geared for it slightly less.
Yeah.
But sometimes your hyperfocus can be bitch slap you across the face and you can hyperfocus on the isms and be the opposite of what we're talking about.
Yeah, for sure. I want to address this. I don't know how much money this is, but that's fine. Somebody asked if they could email me, and you can, I guess. This is me for the first time deciding to have a public email conversation with someone. If you get me at it's luxander@qnaline.com. I guess that technically counts as a public email that is mine. So if you have a question, you could send that. But no guarantee that I'm gonna check the email and answer.
That was $11. So
$11. Thank you very much.
Yeah, from
what was the
Icelandic krona?
Okay, we got some krona up in here. Okay, cool. Thank you.
I love looking that stuff up.
I do not commit to responding to one-on-one messages because I really, really hate any form of one-on-one messages, including with my friends. So if I'm going to overcome that for my friends, I'm not going to necessarily have the energy to overcome that for strangers, but you can sure try.
This was funny. Demolition Man reference. Joe sounds like he wants to live in a world that had the fast food wars and Taco Bell is now the only restaurant.
I haven't seen that in forever. It's the one with the shells, right?
The shell?
He doesn't know how to use the shells.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. Yeah, that's right. I was like, I need the reference for that. It's been so long that I've watched it, too. Somebody had to remind me what the name of the movie was. Yeah. I just remember Arnold Schwarzenegger going into a cryopod, waking up, and they don't even have sex anymore. It's weird.
That is Sylvester Stallone.
My bad.
Not Arnold Schwarzenegger.
R.I.P. All men look the same.
True. These white men, y'all need to get some new faces.
Fucking white men. Yeah. Hey, I say it all the time. All you white men look the same.
It's true. And they all sound the same too. The voices, like, yeah. AC does contribute to global warming, takes warm air from inside and takes it outside. Yeah, I guess in the strictest sense, that is true. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's interesting. I would like to see an influx of building techniques that use normal physics to make buildings cool and heat themselves.
Yeah.
Alas, it's crazy because like awnings have been disappearing from buildings and especially apartment buildings, and awnings are a significant portion of keeping a house cool.
They are.
Yeah, and so like because of this over reliance on AC, we're just not using basic engineering to keep houses cool anymore. And also don't paint buildings dark colors.
Oh, that's also true. Like, just do slightly better on stuff like that. Let's see. I did ask Billy's question while we were on stream. This is funny.
Thank you very much, Billy.
I just heard the cyclospora outbreak being referred to as Maha Blast, and I'm laughing my ass off.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's almost as bad as Hershey squirts in terms of like the visual that it gives you. Oh, had you never heard that one before? I'm so sorry. That's what happens when you go to Taco Bell. You get the Hershey squirts afterwards, you know?
One of my mods who is in New Zealand is saying, look up that stuff. I guess. Wait, you'll have to give me more information, Moose. Look at that stuff in South Korea and Japan about that. Like what did you just mention that
I don't remember what I just said, so I don't ever know what those comments are referring to unless they're contextualized in the comment.
Yeah, he'll get it to me.
It's like media training, you guys. When you comment something, you have to include the context of what it was so that I know what you're talking about.
And a little bit extra for me because I'm at the point of disassociation. Like I can freely admit that. There is a reason building stuff. Okay. I think with awnings and things like that. I still think Kai was a troll.
I don't disagree.
And yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to tell. It's like, are you a real person? I don't know if you're a real person or not. And I want to assume that they're a real person because I can't imagine going on stream and lying like that about my positions.
I can't not. Like I will laugh. I will get to unless it's something that I can truly stand behind, I will be laughing my ass off the entire time, and I'm not going to hit mute fast enough. Someone's going to hear me laugh.
That's funny. You're going to give it all away.
I will. I'm so bad at it. I have a troll account on TikTok. It doesn't work.
That's funny. I'm just going to do a little highlight notes. Thank you, Billy, for the $50. Yeah, you have to use your money to pay the company to enforce on the other company, and that money that you don't already have because you were poor in the first place from the bad contract. So yeah, that's very smart of people. Thank you for $20 from Alice, who says, hang up on this ignorant and disingenuous jerk. We did. And thank you for the 50 from Eclipsed Star, who says, I called, but it said busy. I was curious if that means I'm in the queue. If it says user busy, I think that means that the lines are closed, especially since this came in kind of late in the show. Yeah. So I apologize that you missed us. But that's the show for today.
I will say, though, real quick, Apazman makes a good point to add a $25 waste my time tax on the last guy's number.
Yeah, true.
To a degree, except unless he calls back about government jobs. I want to dig on that one.
Yeah, I'm so curious what he meant by that. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for being here, guys.
Thanks, guys.
That was the show, and it's over now.
And we're gone.